A man fires a rifle for many years, and afterward, he turns the rifle in at the armory, and he believes he's finished with the rifle. But no matter what else he might do with his hands remember the rifle.
Take your top lip and connect it to your bottom lip, you will shut the fuck up. Sometimes shutting the fuck up is the best thing you can do.
What's going on, everybody? This is Ty with the Triple Threat Vet Podcast. Thanks for listening to the show. It is Thursday at 7 p.m. and we've got a good show planned for you. But before we get started, I want to make sure that I talk about some of these slides we got going on here, some events going on. We want to thank last week's guest, Robert Rocha with the So Smoking Gooder Show, came on, shared a bunch of good stories about barbecue, what's going on, how that can help veterans as well. So if you're a veteran out there and you want to get involved in the barbecue culture here in Texas, hit us up on the Triple Threat Vet Podcast. Hit us up at the So Smoking Gooder Show, and we'll get you in touch with them. I want to make sure that we talk about one of our previous guests competing in a weightlifting competition, bodybuilding competition. Hunter Moore will be at the Woodlawn Theater on May 30th. Lots of support out there for him, and we definitely want to thank Becky Jo Art. So without further ado, actually did the wrong one. Last week's guest was Beth Harris. My bad, take two. Last week's guest was Beth Harris, and want to thank her for coming on, sharing stories about Al when he was in high school, getting him ready to join the military and everything. Really appreciate that a lot. Be sure and hit up Same Flag, Same Oath. That's our friends at Got Your Six Culture. It's a veteran-owned business. If you're in the market to get some cool hats, some cool swag, hit them up, sameflagsameoath.com. We are the Triple Threat Vet Podcast, and this week we're telling the story of Daniel Archer, Army Staff Sergeant, Major, CW3, 160th SOAR pilot, mortgage loan officer, and Army Ranger in the 75th Ranger Regiment. Before I turn you over to Matt here, I just want to say, he's an interesting dude. He once learned a language just so he could correct its grammar. He can speak French and English, and he is the most interesting man in the veteran podcast world. Ladies and gentlemen, Matt Johnson.
So first off, I think you Chat GPT'd somebody else, because that's probably not me. I'm thinking. Maybe I can, though. I think I speak French in my sleep, maybe. At least that's what Becky says. She can't understand shit I say anytime anyway, so it's all good. Welcome, everybody. We're glad that you're here. We're super excited to bring you the show today. Al's out pretending like he cares about his kids today, so that's why he's not here. So I know, Bob, you shouted Al out. Thanks for shouting me out, too, by the way. I really appreciate that. But welcome to the show, Bob. Anyway, yeah. It's going to be a good show. We're excited. It's going to be a good time for sure. No rant today.
No rant, but we do have a few other announcements. Yeah. So go ahead, and you want to talk about Texas Chrome Heroes first?
Yeah. So this week I had the absolute and distinct pleasure. I got a phone call. I pick up the phone, and Miss Wendy Collier called me. She works out with Beef Life here in Texas, and they help local ranchers raise livestock, pack out meat, sell it to the public, right? Beeflife.com if you're looking to buy beef from a rancher in Texas local that they can ship to you. They do beef boxes. But either way, she called me and she was like, I got your information from the Veteran Chamber of Commerce in Houston, forgot your six. And she was like telling me that she just started helping our friends over at Texas Chrome Heroes. And so as soon as I started telling her a couple of the people that I know and I've met over there, I think it blew her mind that I know who they are. And so needless to say, it was a pleasure to meet you, Wendy. She is cool. Go check out beeflife.com, support local ranchers, buy the meat from them. It's going to be grass-fed, pasture raised. It's all quality meat, man. So you know it's not going to have all the preservatives in the store. Either way, she's now helping Texas Chrome Heroes. Texas Chrome Heroes every year goes to the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo World Championship Barbecue Cook-Off. For anybody that doesn't live in Houston, Texas, that's a pretty big deal. And our man Joey won in last year. I think he was. I think he won. I don't remember what category, so I don't want to misspeak. But he's a winner. He's won it overall a couple of years. And Texas Chrome Heroes brings veterans in to learn how to barbecue, competition cook, get them into that mission planning and that arena where you got to be, team oriented. So they're still looking to raise a little bit of money to help out with their tent at the rodeo this year. So that's why she was calling me, and that's why I'm talking to all of you. So I know you guys were waiting for the right moment to give money when we talk about on the podcast. You didn't buy very many shirts, but at least you could do is go support these guys as they bring veterans out, and they help them learn how to barbecue cook and kind of give them some purpose to what they're doing. And so if you guys know anybody that is a veteran that you think would have a good time and an experience over there, reach out to us as well, because we might have an inside track to help them get down to the rodeo, get into one of those tents and see what it looks like down there. It's an experience like no other. Ty's been down there many a times. I'm on the committees over there, so I'm always down there too. And it's the rodeo barbecue cook-off it's legit.
Yeah, I've been knowing about Joey Smith and the Texas Chrome Heroes Foundation for about 7 years now, and my name, Al Hero's name, is actually on the side of their rig that they take to all the cook-offs, because we've actually done cook-offs with them. So essentially, they'll show you how to prepare meat, they'll show you how to, cook it, the times, recipes, and it just really gives you, people have all kinds of hobbies, and the mindset that goes into preparing for a cook is the same mindset that you're going to have whenever you're preparing for a mission. Your meats or your ammo, moving out logistically to different areas all over the nation. A lot of people do things on different continents even. So what Texas Chrome Heroes brings to veterans is peace of mind, community, and it's overall competition. It's fun as hell. So if you're in the market for that, during February 26th through 28th, go down and check them out. They'll be right there on Champions Row at the Houston Livestock and Rodeo Show. And if you've got the means and wherewithal, give them about $15,000, and let's get this.
And our friend Wendy with Beef Life is in the chat. So welcome, Wendy. Thank you for joining. I really appreciate it. But let everybody know too, Ty. Here's the thing: if you've seen any of these dudes barbecue cook-off, if you know anything about that, the competitions for barbecue cook-off normally, they're just out there to cook what they're cooking. They turn it in, and you're not eating. It's not like an experience. The thing that I'll tell you is you help sponsor these. You can bring, if you're a business person, you have clients. If you just want to show off for your friends and look important, sponsor them, because these tents are set up to be hospitality tents, right? And so these teams are cooking for the people that sponsor their tent or the people that they invite to come in, right? So this is one of those things where if you sponsor and you go down there, number one, you're doing something that's for a good cause, but number two, you're getting to be a part of something that people don't normally get to see, right? A lot of times people get lucky to get into these things. I mean, for crying out loud, I think Dennis Butterworth has to fight people off from a stick for those buttons that he gives away every year, because it's just an experience to go down there and see it, right? You get to go down there and be wined and dined. You get to eat world-class food. They all have bars in them. There's live music in them, and it is a barbecue party for 3 days. So, I mean, if you're looking for something, and we're in Q1 of the year, right? So if you're a business owner, you're looking for something to do, I encourage you, just reach out to our friends at Texas Chrome Heroes. You'll probably talk to Wendy, and she can get you set up to be able to help sponsor, get some tickets. And I know he showed you the dollar amounts on there. I would even tell you, even if that's too much, just let them know what you want to help with, right? It's at the end of the day, it's just about helping a veteran nonprofit that helps veterans when they get on the other side of the fence. So, just wanted to be able to start it out with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I do have a Blue Falcon of the day, but it is kind of a funny one. The liquid hydrogen leak in the tail service mass umbilical is the Blue Falcon of the week.
What is that?
So they couldn't finish one of the wet test launches. Wet rehearsal countdown was terminated with T-minus 5:15 because basically a bunch of kind concentrated liquid hydrogen got caught right near this little thing I've got circled here. So they couldn't do the wet test for the launch. So the launch that was supposed to happen this week on tomorrow, I think, is now going to be moved to March. So
I'm not going to lie, bro. Ty, check this out.
We're not going to the moon yet.
Go back one. Just hear me out here, bro. No, put us back where we were. With that little thing like that right there, I could tell that the bottom thing is a hydrogen can, but that top picture, it looks like someone's trying to open a beer. So I was kind of like, is he talking about a beer company? You know what I mean?
Oh, no.
Yeah, I had no idea. I'm done, bro. I don't know what you're talking about. It looked like a beer to me, though. If that's what a spaceship looks like, dude, I'm in. I'll ride one for sure.
Well, it's interesting. So in March, this should be the trajectory. They'll take off from Houston, do a revolution around the Earth, about 1.5 around the Earth, and then get kicked out to the moon. They'll round the moon about 4,000 miles away from it, and then come back to Earth. And a lot of the things that they're going to do here is just observe the way the new aircraft is going to be flying. They're going to do some manual tests. And then I just think it's cool that eventually 2027, 2028, we're going back to the moon.
Yeah, they got to make sure that beer doesn't foam over. You know what I mean? While they're flying. Because that shit looks like a beer, dude. 100%.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so again, sorry, Al's not here for a rant, but remember, go sponsor Texas Chrome Heroes and watch the space shuttle launch next week, you know?
Yeah, shout out to Bob. Shout out to Beef Life USA. Shout out to Carlos Calzada watching. And my boy Jovan Mosby, former guest, veteran. I like to wax poetic with him a lot. But today we have a pretty special guest, like I talked about a little bit earlier. But some of the people that we bring on the show have different experiences, and this gentleman has quite an experience just from the fact that he was a staff sergeant, a major, and a CW3 all in one career. That's pretty interesting. But the secondary fact is, he served with the 75th Ranger Regiment from PFC to staff sergeant. He became a commissioned officer as a major, ended up flying Chinooks with the 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment, which is located there at Fort Campbell and other places as well. He transitioned out of the military, became a military loan officer or mortgage loan officer. And let's bring him on stage. Daniel Archer.
Hey guys, what up? What's going on?
Nothing much, man. How are you? Look, there's a lot of veterans that get out and become loan officers. You guys must make a lot of money.
So kind of an interesting road, right? So,
yeah.
I was in for 27 years. Did all the crazy stuff. So the only thing you forgot is, instead of retiring as a major, I reverted, became a warrant, and did another 7.5 years, which kind of makes my career kind of a little bit of a unicorn, I suppose. But the mortgage thing, here's the deal, right? Like by that time I had 25, 30 trips overseas, traveling I didn't want to do anymore. Joining corporate America was not something that I was interested in. Always had like an entrepreneurial bug, and the mortgage business kind of checked a lot of different boxes, and also kind of made me my own boss, right?
Yeah.
You get out of it what you put into it. So, with retirement and disability, I realized that I could truly become like an industry disruptor, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Because I'm not starving. I could actually do what I love to do, which is coach, teach, mentor people. So, it just kind of popped in my lap, and and I just went after it, and now I love it.
Oh yeah, Dan, I'm not gonna lie, dude. I tried to do the mortgage thing. I just got pissed off that people would leave me for like $10. That just means my game wasn't tight as it needed to be, and I get that. And that's why I admire you guys, man. You guys go through a lot of shit. And for the guys that are really good like you, just beware to anybody else that tries to step on them toes, because it's not going to be fun. I just never got good. I was a better realtor than a loan officer. You know what I mean?
So you know the trick?
What's that?
And I'll tell you this right now. So here's the deal. Like, veterans have the cheat code, because you've got a huge network of people, especially if you had a long career, right? of people that already know, like, and trust you. Well, the challenge for most people in this game is trying to prove to people that you're a good person. Well, shit. I mean, how many people in my career did I deploy with, right? And so what I did, which is completely counterproductive or counterintuitive to, like, you know, my military careers, because we couldn't have a social media thing, is I learned how to do social media, and I started to do posts. And I mean, you know, originally, I mean, they're pretty brutal, but I didn't give a shit because I had to change the game, because whenever I first got into it, they teach you, get your license, go make friends with realtors. Maybe they'll give you a referral. Well, I'm like, well, that's dumb. Why would they use me? I'm freaking brand new at this. I don't know what the hell I'm doing, right? Like, so I'm like, I just looked at it tactically. I'm like, I'm in a sword fight with a plastic fork. I'm like, I need to cut the realtors out of the equation. And so I literally used ChatGPT to get ahead of them, go direct to consumer, and all I have to do is be available for questions to my network.
Yeah, for sure.
And business comes. And dude, I'll tell you, I started to post probably April of 23, 24. I've been doing it probably pretty hard about, you know, I've been putting in the work 2 years, and I have probably close to 500 reels. But here's the thing. If you can't Google me, and I don't have a book of business, how much confidence do you have to use in me? It doesn't matter what I talk about.
Especially nowadays, right?
Right. So I literally, for almost a year straight, I was posting every day, a couple days, something. And to eventually, if you Google me now, I'm freaking everywhere.
Yeah.
Every time that I post, I get 1 to 3 people.
Yeah, that's the key, man. I love the mortgage industry. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. I always like when we talk to people that are in the loan business or people that do anything financial when it comes to post-career, because you can help, you know, our audience can be helped with a lot of things when it comes to the VA loan, things you can do. I'm sure there's new updates that are coming out. We're in a new year, so sometimes things change. I can't wait to get into that part. But what we like to start off with every week is introduce you to our audience. So really is, you know, where are you from? Where'd you grow up? What was it like for you as a kid? Like, we like to get into that kind of stuff first, if you don't mind.
Sure. All right. So, Danny Archer, I'm from, originally born in St. Louis, Missouri, moved down to a small town called Flat River, Missouri, which is now Park Hills, Missouri. Small town, middle America, all about sports. You know, I could walk outside and pee off the back porch. Didn't have any neighbors. Lives on a gravel road. You know,
There you go.
Killed my first turkey in the front yard. That kind of stuff. Loved it. It was amazing. It was all, but I mean, there wasn't a lot to do. So you just, you know, you did all sports. You know, teenage stuff, right?
Yeah, teenage stuff. Statute of limitations has run out on some of that stuff, I think, though. You know.
Well, the game has definitely changed with cell phones. Because, dude, think of this, man. If you wanted to call me, I had to be within, you know, earshot of the phone hanging on the wall.
That's very true.
Right. And then and how about this? You know, dating a girl outside of your local area code was a long distance. So
yeah.
Right. Do you remember them long distance phone calls? You dated a girl from another school and it's long distance. You're getting your ass kicked by your parents.
Oh, yeah. Who made a phone call to Hazard? What are you talking about? Oh,
yeah.
Shit, that's me. Yeah, but you remember, we were talking about this the other day, my wife and I. Do you remember when caller ID came out? Game changer, dude. Game changer. I could see who's calling me. And then what was even better than that was call waiting and then 3-way calling. So now you could talk to 2 people at the same time, right? So you talk to we talk to our kids nowadays, man. They're FaceTiming 10 people at one time.
Right.
Fucking group party and it's all good to go, right? And then I remember one day my wife was like, yeah, when I was using my beeper, and my son was like, what? She's like, yeah, beeper. This thing beeped and I had to go to a payphone. And he's like, a payphone? And then I was like, oh shit, dude, we're awesome. We went through all those changes, but you're like standing the cords halfway across the house. And nowadays it's not that way. So it's funny that you're like, You better hope I was home when you called. Otherwise,
You ain't catching
we're
me.
just not
That's
going
right.
to talk. Yeah.
You
But
know,
it was amazing. Like how often did you not know what was happening now? With your friends, I mean, with your friends where everybody's hanging out.
Like you're in your own little world. And I remember like hopping on my bike or just trucking through the fields to get to my friend's house. Dude, just trespassing like nobody's business, right? I would ride 11 miles into town to go play with friends on my bike, dude, and cross a highway.
But you always knew where everybody was that's what I'm saying. It's like,
yeah.
But nowadays, if you go look at the kids nowadays, right, with my son and other people, you know, when he was growing up, I used to be like, hey man, what are your friends doing this weekend? He's like, yeah, man, I don't know. I used to always be like, what do you mean you don't know?
Yeah.
Didn't you just talk to him on a video game? Like you guys don't. Oh, I get it. You guys gonna. I'm like, man, nobody goes outside. That's what they do now.
But that's literally for them. You know, I was talking to my son one time and I was watching him like he was, you know, watching somebody play a video game. I was like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm watching this guy play a video game. I'm like, what? That's pathetic. He goes,
why don't you go play?
No. Check it out. It's going to blow your mind. He goes, you watch people play football, don't you?
Oh, that's true.
I was like,
that is true. Touche. I'm not, but I'll watch them nowadays though, because nowadays they're unfiltered, dude. They say the craziest, outlandish shit. So I'll see like little cut videos. I'll hear them when he's looking at his phone. I'm like, well, let me see that one, and then I watch them. I'm like, these dudes are out of control. But that's a good point. He got you on that one. He got you. Watching people play games.
Is he frozen?
I think so.
Are you frozen? You're not there, are you, Danny? Yeah, he's frozen. We'll have to get him to log back in.
I don't know.
It's true though. Like my oldest son, Kason, is at this point he's basically a professional gamer. He just competed in the big Dallas thing that went on 2 weeks ago with Call of Duty, and he is so good at the game that you know, they're doing call outs and you know, attacking all the other teams, and you know, I just sit there and watch, and I'm like, my fingers don't move that fast.
No, for sure. Could never move that fast. Have no idea how they. And then the other part, you know, when you're playing these video games, is you'll pull the gun up and you'll go to shoot somebody, and then they kill you. Like, dude, I know I shot the guy in the face, and your kids are like, no, you didn't. You missed him. I'm like, how do you know? You weren't there. He goes, I can see what you did. You missed him. I'm like, dude, I was like 2 inches from his face. I shot that dude. They're like, well, you died, so you didn't. Then you get all mad, right? Because we're old grumpy men. Just pisses you off, you know.
Yeah, big shout out to Regiment Gaming and American Legion Gaming, because they're doing, I mean, a lot of the younger generation. I'm 50 years old, so I played Pac-Man and Legend of Zelda, but some of the younger generation that's getting out of the military now, that's all they've done is played Battlefield and COD, and you know,
to be a millionaire on YouTube, bro, that would be awesome.
Yeah, sure.
Get it. You know, but we were just saying, Danny, like your son got you, man. Like talking about watching people play a sport on a TV. Then you're like, oh man,
you can't argue it. Yeah, I was just like, enjoy.
Yeah, but you still need to turn that shit off and not watch it.
Nerd, you know.
Oh,
get your ass outside.
For you growing up in Missouri, I know you said you played sports and
yep.
All that. So as you got older, when you got through into the high school years and you're coming through, was the military the very first thing you thought of doing, getting out of the small town, or were there other aspirations before going into the military for you?
So I ended up getting baseball scholarships, and I played in baseball. I went to college and played baseball, and played in a local junior college, and then I played at the University of Missouri St. Louis, and you know, at the time, honestly, like, you know, that was pretty good, right? So I've always wanted the military, but by the time that I went to the military, I had exhausted baseball. I was a 5'10" right-hander. People loved my ball, hated my height. I couldn't defeat that. And you know, and I, you know, made this All-American. Like, I'd done all the. at the very end of my game, I was good, but it was like it was almost too late, and I was pissed. And
so were you mad because you weren't going to go further, or you're mad because you're like, why did I keep fucking doing this? Like, which one was it for you?
So it sucked because like I had gotten to a level where I was almost like I wouldn't lose, right? So and I felt that I was at a level where I could have competed. And yeah, you're kind of right. Like I had spent all this time and energy into this and it didn't pan out. But you know what? Whatever. And I was like at an identity crisis at 22, and decided I needed to go find myself, get my ass kicked a little bit. So I joined the Army, became an airborne ranger.
So that's interesting though. What made you say I need to go find myself and get my ass kicked? Like, I mean, being an athlete, you're playing sports, you're practicing.
Because I was a fucking hooligan, like.
Well, if you were a good baseball player, do what you want when you want, right?
So like, yeah, man, I drank too much, like did all the stuff, like it was an idiot, right? So, and I was a menace to myself, like, and I got to a point where like, I need to at least just like completely sweep the board and go and, figure it out, right?
And so did you graduate?
I was 2 classes short. That's a completely different other story. Eventually, I did finish in the military.
Because that was going to be my question. Is like, if you did graduate, now I know why you went enlisted. You know what I mean? To start, like I got it now.
You dumb. Like so.
Bro, you at least went to college, homie. You know what I mean? Whether you partied your way through or not, you had good grades.
Here's the
basketball will do that for you.
Here's the sad thing is I never applied myself in school, because there was always something else that I had to do. And I will tell you, by the time I went to college, I was scared shitless because I didn't have any study skills, right? And I had to make C's to be able to play ball. So I had to study to kind of, stay eligible and, keep playing and stuff. And then, joined the military, and then, like fast forward. And then I had to, I went to flight school, and flight school was like the first time where I know shit had to study.
Oh yeah.
Every night, 2 to 3 hours, zero confidence, scared shitless.
Yeah.
Like
we're going to get there. That's
I know. I'm sorry. I'm jumping ahead.
No, you're good to go, brother. So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
For you, going to college, being in that team atmosphere, right? And honestly, you going, I need to get my ass kicked. That's why I'm going to join, right? Did you go to the recruiter wanting to be an Army Ranger, or how did the Army Rangers get on your radar of like, that's what I want to do?
I'm going to sound like a psycho. Okay. I'm not going to lie. So originally I had a buddy that was like, hey, we should join the Coast Guard. And I'm like, oh, the Coast Guard, that's cool. Like, he's like, yeah, we'll be on the beach. Like that would be pretty cool. And I'm like, all right, but I want to kind of do some stuff. And I went to the Coast Guard recruiter first, and I was ready. I'm like, I don't care. Like, I went to Puerto Rico, was going to try to play down there. And I just had a moment where I'm staring at myself in the mirror, all jacked up. I'm just like, I got to get out of here. So came back, went straight to the recruiter, ready to go. And I will tell you, I would have been a Coast Guard person had he not played a video of what basic training was going to be. Because, no bullshit. So, do you remember the big gold discs?
Yeah.
So he pops in
discs. Yeah.
He puts in his big gold disc of what basic training is going to look like. And all of a sudden they're like, they're just wearing these blue outfits, and there's this girl, and she's like, and at the end you got to do a PT test where you got to run 2 miles around a track. And I was like, what? And so the guy comes back in because he was going to get the paperwork for me to sign it. And he's like, so what do you think? I was like, man, like, where's like the camouflage and boots, running in dog tags, like high and he's like, oh, that's the Army. I go, okay, cool. Thank you. And I got up.
You want me to tell the recruiter you did an amazing job for him, or are you going to take care of that when you get over there? Why don't you just walk me over?
No. Here's where it gets really, really bad, because like I have at this point, something I want to do. And I walk in, and this is on the St. Charles Rock Road in St. Anne. living in right down the street. I was going to UMSL at the time. And I walk into the recruiter and I'm like, hi. And they're like, hey, well, how can I help you? I'm like, I want to carry a machine gun, wear camouflage, and I want to kill people. He's like, what? And I go, machine gun, camouflage, kill people. He's like, you ever heard of an airborne ranger? I'm like, just on Breakfast Club. And and he pops in this video. Yeah. And dude, seriously, the video, I was just like this, oh shit. Oh, okay. You know, looking like a bunch of neo-Nazis with shaved heads and shit, right? So I was like, yeah. So I did it. I left 28 days later. Yeah.
So you were always looking for something that was challenging. You just didn't, you know, you're trying to find that right space. So for you, getting in, I'm sure, how was boot camp for you? Was it a change going into something that had so much like direction, discipline, structure, organization, where you're like, I can't get a minute to myself. Whereas you're coming from that world where if you're a good athlete in a school, you're like a celebrity, you know what I mean? It's like, we're just going to go do what we do. So what was your, I guess you would call your indoctrination into that, or how did you mesh into that?
I fucking loved it. Like,
oh, really?
No. So here's the thing. And this is pathetic too. This is some of my naiveness of coming from like wherever. I believe there was scientific evidence and like for everything that you did, every dumb thing, every exercise, the amount of like, there was a reason, there's science, there's years and years of studies. This is why I'm doing it. And I was all in, dude. I was all in until I became an NCO. And I realized dudes are just freaking faking the funk, figuring it out. You know what I mean? Like,
best actors on the planet.
Yeah, like, no, dude, I'm serious. Like, I remember being a private in 275 at 2nd Ranger Battalion up in Fort Lewis, Washington. And we had these gun jeeps, you know, these Range Rover, M110R Saab or something like that, and it had 50 cals and two Mark 19s. Now, dude, I joined when it was like clear and present danger, right? Yeah. So I'm like, we go down in South America, just kill drug cartels all the time. That's what we must do, right? Everybody's killed people here. Like, how pathetic, right? So here I am. We're up there. We're like cleaning this 50 cal. I remember just talking to my buddy, and I'm like, he's been there for a few years. I'm like, hey man, so like seriously, like this is weird. Like but I gotta ask, like, how many people have you killed? And he's like this. He looks like me like I'm an idiot. He's like, what? Like, how many people have you killed? He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like black ops, man. We would go do stuff, like do this. Like, there's no war. Like, are you an idiot? And I was like, well, I guess so. You know, like, and so, you know, and at that point I was like, you know what? You know, you come for a different purpose, and, you know, train hard, you know, learn the shit. When Ranger Battalion was, oh man, it's such a good place to go and learn and be as soldiers, because it's harsh, it's brutal, but it's kind of like, I'll kick the shit out of my brother, but nobody would touch my brother. Right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's the community, right?
When you joined, did you get like you were able to go in as a ranger, or did you have to do some stuff before you got there? Kind of walk us through your pipeline to get into the Ranger Battalion.
So had no idea at that time they didn't have a Ranger contract. I came as an 11 X-ray. Dude, it was like complete luck. I ended up 11 Bravo in Ranger Battalion. You know, like, you know, you get to show up to like 30th AG at Fort Benning, and just whatever day you showed up would be what you ended up shipping out as. And complete luck. And honestly, at that time, they were pushing everybody. So you're talking, I joined in March of 96. So summer of 96, you know, we had some stuff going with China, and they were pushing a bunch of people to Hawaii, you know, for some stuff potentially to happen. And everybody in my basic training was going to the 25th Infantry Division. And then at the very end of it, they diverted, and they said, okay, your orders are getting changed. You guys have options. You can go to the 82nd and get airborne contract. You can go to the Rangers. And I'm like, by that time, I'd already seen them at Fort Benning running. Back then, they only dudes with black berets with their, you know, the ropes on them, and the two cord just running around all like steely-eyed killers, you know. And you're like, dude, you know. And I was in, man. It was awesome. I loved it. It was harsh, but it was exactly what I needed.
Yeah, that's awesome. So for you, going through, what was Ranger school for you like? Like when you got there, you're going through. What I like to always ask, what was the hardest thing you went through, and what was the thing that came to you pretty easy, but you were surprised that it was that easy when it was over? I don't know if that makes sense, right? Because there's always a hard thing, but there's always this thing you're like, I really thought that was going to be harder, but actually it was like surprisingly the thing that was the easiest.
So I was always pretty good at like enduring, and then being athletic, I was always fine with the physical stuff, right? Sleep deprivation sucked, not eating sucked, but man, I will tell you, mountain phase, I did winter phase, so Mount Yona is frozen, and you're out there doing like ropes and you're doing all your crazy climbs and stuff, and because you would get wet and then you would dry out, so your skin would just continue to, like, my fingers got so chewed up and bloody from like my skin splitting. And then I remember doing like the Prusic climb up the side of the mountain and my knuckles and everything. Like, it was that, man, brutal. But I enjoyed. You want to know where my happy spot is? We're freezing, and we're sitting there, and we're both just like shivering, like, right? And I look over at you, and you got a snot sickle hanging out of your nose. And I just look over at you and I just go, "You fucking pussy."
Yeah, right.
And
your
then,
nose is running.
And then we just start dying laughing, because like
Yeah.
I would feed off of people's misery. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, like.
Well, that's a very interesting point. Like, feed off that. A lot of people will look at veterans when they hear us telling stories, right? The story we tell is not to be told in public, obviously. However, when we're telling the story and people like want to, because there's always people that they just want to be a part of a conversation or a story or whatever, and we don't care. Like, you can hear it, and then they look after. Why do you think it is that humor is the thing that people go to get through those shitty situations? And then even today, after it was so bad, like, you're still laughing about it. Why do you think people turn to that? What do you think it is about that specific that makes people just get through it?
I think that's, if you can't laugh, what else is the other option, right? I mean, you don't have a choice. You have to do it. It obviously sucks. It obviously hurts. It's not fun. And if you could have a really serious pity party, but then we have a very bitchy army, right? Like, I think that mentality just kind of becomes engraved and kind of contagious, because, embrace the suck, right? Like, everybody knows that, right? And so, being able to share just misery loves company, right? And, there was just, how many times you just been in just some heinous, did you ever go to JRTC?
Oh yeah, I was stationed there.
I was Navy, so
47 guest rotations and 4 actual rotations.
Oh no, you go to the back. Did you go to the shitters, the porta johns? Whenever there's like a Ranger battalion there, and you go to the bathroom, and there is just this mountain of poo where you can't even sit down. You have to hover, squat. Like, dude, seriously? Like, how can you not laugh at that? You know?
For real. And then you walk out and you're like, Bob, for real, dude, you couldn't wait till everybody else went to the bathroom before you went in there and did that. And the guy's like, what are you talking about? Like, dude, right. I saw what you did in there. There's that one guy you go to.
The chem lights and the shaking.
Yeah, because he gets riled up. You're like, oh, I just found the perfect thing. But that's what I'm saying. Like, it's just, I don't know. I think it's awesome. Like, you have those.
It's like a dirty secret that we all carry around, because we all know, right? Like,
oh yeah,
you've put somebody's nasty feet on your stomach before. You know what I mean? Like, you've spooned because you were going to die, right?
Yeah, like you don't have a choice. Like, you got to get there, right?
You know what I mean? It's not gay, okay?
It's those moments you're like, bro, when we joined the Army, what they told us about, if it's in mountain phase, it's not, you can finish the sentence, but we need to get warm, and they're like, okay. okay, don't tell anybody. And then right after, bro, he willingly let me be the big spoon. I don't know what. It's just like those things, and it's almost like you're waiting for who's going to get it next so then everybody can see it. And it's like it's that anticipation moment, right? That's the thing that's like, it's the comedy show at the end of the day, right? Like we're going to get through it because, some crazy shit's going to happen, or you can't wait to hear the dumb shit somebody did that nobody else saw. He thought this was a good idea. Like that stuff is
so
always
many stories, man.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
Every time, and it's funny you realize I was up at 2nd Ranger Battalion during the grunge. We would go to the Seattle Underground and watch Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Soundgarden in bars.
Yes.
And mosh pitting. Like we would just go clean the mosh pits and just fuck people up. Like it was awesome.
Legally. We can really go do this. Let's go.
Yeah. It was man, crazy.
I like that term. You cleaned the mosh pits.
Yeah, well, we would literally like lock arms and just rake the thing and just.
That's so funny.
Just dude, but remember, I was in Ranger Battalion when you were either scunion cut or 4-fingered high and tight. Like you had nothing but hate and anger, and like
sure.
just Copenhagen and hate, and I'm good, right? Like.
So you got into the Rangers at 96, 97, basically, is when you were in
right.
there. So now I always like to act. I know Ty does too. We always love to ask our guests that were in for that, where were you and what were you doing when 9/11 happened?
Oh yeah, perfect. So I was actually in Jordan whenever the USS Cole got bombed, and I thought we were going to go do NEO, non-combatant evacuation operation, and it got shut off, and I was pissed. And so I decided to that was when I decided to put my officer candidate school packet in, and I did an interview over there with the 160th who was with us, and came back and did my flight aptitude test, my OCS packet, and my physical, and I got it. And I was an OCS. Check this shit out, right? All this time, I go to OCS, and I'm in week 12 or 13. I went to OCS in July 2001. Yeah. I'm at the very end. I'm an aviation officer with no wings, and fucking towers go down. And I'm like, are you serious right now? Like, so I tell this story because, I don't even remember what the guy's name was. But we were in the woods getting MRE and water resupply, getting ready to go back out to our patrol base. And I had already done all my stuff. So I was graduating and I was just waiting. And, they came down and said, hey, one of the towers got hit by a plane. And I remember being like, that's weird. And then, not much longer, they came back down and said the other tower went down. And Rangers and SF and all this is, they're going and jumping in. And I talked to my small group leader, and I was just like, hey, man, I got to get out of here.
Yeah, I was going to say, how long did it take for you to go, you can keep the wings, I got to go?
Yeah, so it was immediate. And so I was talking to my small group leader, and he's like, look, man, he's like, you chose to leave for a reason. He's like, you're an 11 Bravo from Ranger Battalion, and you got aviation. And he's like, that's never going to happen again. He's like, that war is not going to go anywhere. You need to let these cards play out and hold the line and keep going.
Oh,
and dude, what great insight and advice, because the easy answer is to punch and go, right?
Yeah.
But it was not, that wasn't like the long, playing the long game. Right. And I was, I was older. I came in at 23. So I started to think like that. And I looked at him and I was like, and I went back to my tree. And then, TDY returned, had to go back as a lieutenant. They transitioned to the tan berets whenever I was in OCS. I never got a tan beret, and then left the flight school and assessed right out of flight school, and then started my war campaign.
So for you, how long did it take for you to get your wings and then do all that? Like, what was the time frame for that? Because if you were, so you said you were about to graduate, no wings. How long before you had your wings and you were actually deploying to go
Yep.
where
So
you
I graduated flight school in what? January of 02, and then had like OBC after that, and then assessed in April of 02. No, yeah, and then showed up. Let's see, June of 03, 23. No, it was June of 03. So I graduated because flight school was 18 months because there was a gap, and winter strike 03, December of 03 was my first combat deployment.
Nice. So on your first, so I'm interested for that. Like, where did you go for your first deployment?
Bagram.
So when you get there, former enlisted guy, former Ranger, going into fly, do you mind going through like what was your first mission? Like, what did you do on your first mission? And then like what was it doing that versus what you kind of look back and I could have been doing this, but now I'm doing that. I don't know if that makes sense, or when you're looking at the dynamic, you know what I mean?
So, at the time, I mean, so my first rotation, I was not, they sent me over as a lieutenant just to go and get some staff time and give somebody a break during the holidays. So it wasn't shit, but it was a good exposure to see what it was. Because then I came back and then I went to my first line company. And then that following summer, in 04, I was doing my first DA. Now that one was interesting because, I'm in the right seat, there's, I don't know, guerrilla package, man. It was an armada of 47s and stuff. And, man, I have no idea what to expect, like you just expect shooting and all this, right? And, we're jacked up and, we're at 100%, everything's blacked out, glow over our cockpit, and ground force starts coming on, and the team leader plugs in, and they're like, "Hey, this is a team leader up on headset, Sergeant Jackson." And I'm like, "Jackson?" I know the voice. Dude, it's freaking one of my buddies, dude. And so I'm like, "Jeff?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Who is that?" I'm like, "It's fucking Archer, dude." He's like, "What?" And so, dude, my first mission, and we're probably an hour and a half en route to the target. Dude, we're just talking mad shit over ICS. There was no because I was whatever, and they were not ready for me, right? Because I was a lieutenant, but ex-Ranger battalion dude.
Yeah, that's kind of how I was trying to go there, is like, going in there from where you had been, and for as long as you'd been there, right? Being the guy that comes off the tree that goes, "Yeah, I need to get out of here," to them going, just, be patient. And then in that situation, you're there with guys that you'd already served with. So I'm sure at that point, everybody's like, "We're good to go." It's like, let's do this. You know what I mean? It had to be a surreal feeling, I would guess, right?
So what was probably the most interesting thing is like, the 160th, like the crew chiefs back then, it was we ate our own, right? Like everybody, all those units eat your own, and they love to talk smack on the new guys, and of course they hear, "Oh, we're getting a lieutenant," they think they're getting some wet behind the ears 22-year-old kid or something, right? Not a 29-year-old ex-Ranger that used to be like, teach combatives and shooting and all this stuff, right? And knows all these people. And I did, I was in the planning cell, right? Bagram, first mission. I think I'd been there just a smidge, right? And one of my platoon sergeants comes in and he's just chirping. He used to call all the pilots girls. "Which one of you girls is going to fucking fight me?" Right? And I remember looking around, and back then, like all the warrant officers had been in the unit for a long time. So they're all like older, like E7s in the Army, like that dude's not crawling on the ground, right? And so I just look at him. I'm just like, I guess it's me, man. And so he doesn't know that I used to teach this crap and stuff, because I just keep it to myself. And so, next thing you know, we're taking off, watches, and and, you know, belts and dog tags and stuff. And he's like, you good? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. And so we start on these, and man, and so we go like this, and there's like a really good move where like, so I'll lean into him like this to get him to push, and then I just fall back, and then I just roll, and then slip my hand up underneath and grab the opposing collar or shoulder, and then I grab this, and then by the time that we roll in, I'm in the mount, and then I have that cross collar choke in, and I have my forehead against his cheek, and I'm pushing his fucking face like this, and he's like, you know, it's like he's tapping in 1.2 seconds, and he's like, and I'm like this, not today, motherfucker. and I take him right there, you know.
Yeah.
And then I let him, and everybody's just like, dude, what the fuck is happening, right? Like, what the, you know. And I'm like, dude, I used to teach this stuff. He's like, that's fucked up. You got to tell people that shit. And honestly, dude, it was just kind of, you know, being an older dude, a ranger, like, and I was super hothead, but I was super fun guy, but I was like hugs and punches. You know,
you were a ranger, dude.
Like and it gave me kind of like this, like, you know, he was a ranger, you know, like he says some crazy shit, but he's, you know, he's good. And so I never changed.
On your first deployment, about how many missions did you guys do? I'm sure it's too many to count, but I mean, is there, out of all the ones you did, not necessarily how many did you do, but are there any that stick out to you that you'd like to talk about, or one that like sticks out as like, this is the one that, like, you know, learn this, learn that, you know, is there anything that was like stuck out of the ordinary in that first deployment for you?
On my first, so it's kind of interesting. My first one, that same mission, right? We're like 2 minutes out, and he decides, okay, hey man, I got to get set up for this landing. He's like, yeah, I got to get ready because they got to get up on one knee and get ready to go. And we had looked at the imagery and all this, and back then it was pretty okay, but wasn't great. And you know, you did every landing like it's going to be a brownout. I can't see shit. And so I set it up, and you know, I've got my approach. It's on the near side. This main building's up here, and there's people landing all around it. And dude, my first mission, check this out. So I start the approach, and I'm sure, you know, I got the shutter, and I'm coming in, and I'm like, fuck, man, something doesn't feel right. And I go, and this is something we never did. And I'm like, hey, I'm going to turn my IR searchlight on real quick. And he's like, what? I'm like, IR. He's like, yeah, man, go ahead. And I click it on, and I'm on the approach to go and land. And it is terraced as a motherfucker. Like 3 and 4 foot drop terrace, you know, postage stamp things. And I had to stand it up on its end, slide it in sideways, and then put it down perpendicular, you know, to the direction of flight. And they're like, dude, how did you know? And I'm like, I don't know, right?
Yeah, it just felt right. You just felt that you should have been like, that's why they sent me here, bro. Like, come on.
Yeah, but I mean, you think about it. You're a new dude on your first rotation, on your first mission.
Yeah.
And you have the gall to turn the IR searchlight on, but come to find out, you would have totally crashed.
Oh, for sure. But I mean, think about that kind of goes back to what you were saying earlier about you specifically coming in there, right? That experience of being a ranger and teaching those courses and doing those leadership things. And, you know, you have that feeling of like, this may or may not be right, is like, oh, I think we should do this. I think if you would have been any other JO at that time, that light would have never came on.
That's right. I had this happen one more time. I was in Iraq, and we were doing like a 6-ship online going into this thing. And I was like the pivot guy on the inside. So like this, and going in, and then, you know, my target building was out here, and I was going to land right at the end of it. And I already had my approach coming in, and we're, you know, like trying to keep in line on time, so you land at the same time. And it was the same dude. So one of the things, if I hear it or I feel it, like I just acknowledge it. And so I'm like this when I'm like, should I start my approach, and I'm pulling back and flaring and getting the slowdown, and I get it. And I'm like, dude, I remember, like, I'm going to turn on my IR searchlight real quick. And the guy's like, all right. And I flash it on, and there is triple strand wires coming right to the cockpit. And I snatch the nose up, pulling a, you know, like snatch in power to bump us up over the wires. and then drop it back down, have to kick it out of trim to do a out of trim decel, and then slam it down into the HLZ. And then dudes are running off, and that dude's like, dude, what the fuck? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I just.
Yeah, dude. Guardian angels, man. That's what it is, dude. Like they're just tapping you on the shoulder and you're like, yeah, I think I'll listen this time. Let's look at it. That's crazy. But again, that's it comes with experience, that's just one of those things that you hear a lot of stories like that is like, I don't know why I did it. I just did. And, thank God you did. Right. Because otherwise we wouldn't be having this conversation after your first go around, it'd have been a cool, it was cool stories on the way here, guys. Sorry.
Yeah,
but
no, it was. I've had a few of those, but I found that in really bad situations, I was very calm. I knew exactly what I needed to do, and I didn't question it. That was it. Like I could just, and that was there was only one way to do this.
Has there ever been a time, flying mission wise, where you were like, oh, this is gonna suck, or you were like, oh man, I don't know if we're gonna get out of this? And if you want to talk about it, ever been in anything like that?
So I am at a point now where I can. So one of the last big missions that I ever did, that kind of started the beginning of the end towards my medical retirement. It was a pretty easy 6-ship infill, and then, came back, and then I was with like the QRF, and, we had 3 ships for QRF and 3 that were going to be able to do a 3-ship exfil. And then they get called. And so we were there no later than exfil, 4:30 in the morning, before the sun comes up, got to be out of the objective area. And they go right before that, they get to the area, they get called troops and contacts, and they put them into a hold, and they didn't have a ton of gas because they were doing more than planned to do it with just 3. And then next thing you know, they're going into a ground logger, and we realize we're probably going to have to go in. So we cycle over to the FARP, take on some more gas, and we sit and we're ready. And next thing you know, sure as shit, they're like, hey man, we got to go into the ground. We're running out of gas. We need to swap out. So we push forward with extra gas. And so we, come into this area in between these 2 mountains, and I'm like sitting on the side of the mountain with these 2 other aircraft, and we're doing the numbers, and man, I'm like, shit, with the gas that we have on, like we're looking, we had a little, flight computer and stuff that we could put in our weight, and all the things to come up with the power margins and whatnot. And it said we needed 90 available, 90 required, which means we had no margin of error for power, or we're going to droop and, either cook the engines or droop and crash. And so I'm talking to my guys, and interesting, I'm going to flash back and come back to this, is I used to do dust, we do dust landing approaches, but one of the issues with the Chinook is there's no guns off the front. And so we would go do dust landings, and then that sometimes I would have, we would slide in sideways and do them sideways completely, just because, so you could lead with the guns. And I'm like, we'll call this the Archer approach. It'd be badass, right? So we're now fast forward to however, and we're on the side of this mountain, and now we're looking at the target, and like, we're the Kazavak bird, and there's casualties now. So I'm going to the Kazavak HLZ, which is right next to all of the main buildings, and it's right off of the nose. And I'm like, hey guys, like, we could dump gas. And I'm like, when we get the exfil call, I'm going to start dumping gas. I'm like, and then, what we're going to do is we'll come off of the mountain, and then the guy I'm flying with, Casey, I'm like, you're going to start the approach, and then I'll come off and I'll shut the pumps off, and then I'll come on, and then we're going to slide in sideways, all Sex Panther style. And then I'm like, left guns, we had a minigun and a 240. I'm like, you're going to just start hammering that building, and I'm going to slap it in sideways, and we're going to go down and we're going to do the shit. And sure as shit, dude, like, it was just awesome. Just coming off the mountain, spitting this gas, we're coming down to flight of 3. You could just see the shit, man. Dirt and kick up and smoke and all this and that. And I'm like, all right. And we did it just like we said, man. We shot the approach, came in, sliding sideways, aerodynamic flare, slammer down, and we sat there for 2 minutes and 22 seconds shooting the entire time. And And, you know, we're like so close to the building that like it's overwhelming. Just, you know, like you don't have a chance. You can't come out because hurricane winds and dust and, you know, like, and there's an aircraft off to our right. We're supposed to get people too. Well, you know, people will start coming on, they're getting the casualties on and all this. But it's, you know, it's 3 elements that we have to get out. And dude, I'm like, how we doing, boys? And they're like, I'm on the ground force, you know, and, like, all right, cool. You know, like, and so, you know, we're supposed to get 21. And, you know, next thing you know, we're just waiting. How we doing, boys? Because, you know, I'm like, man, dude, we sitting here. And I remember I'm looking like this. And I look back to my left like this. And there's a dude pops out behind the corner of a building with an RPG. He's like, got us. He's got us dead. And it hits a tree limb. Blows up behind the element of the people. And, you know, like, meanwhile, everybody that's coming on is just shooting out windows. That's what they're doing. They're just shooting out windows and stuff. And then finally they're like, hey, aft ready, forward ready. I'm like, all right, cool. And I'm like, I tell my guy, I'm like, look, I know we're going to be heavy. I'm like, you're going to pull straight to 100%. And I'm going to stop it. And then we're going to get the nose up and we're going to get going. And so we do. And we come up, boom. I'm like, oh shit, we're fucking heavy. And get the nose off. We got to get over these buildings. And then, you know, the other aircraft that got in and out really quick, you know, and I heard them call out and they only came out with 14. I was like, damn, that's weird. 14. Like, that sucks. And so we get going and we start flying and we start to accelerate. And all of a sudden my aircraft starts to go like this. I'm like, ooh, that's weird. Here, I got the controls. I'm like, here, release the parking brake just in case we got to do a roll-on landing or whatever. I'm like, hey, and I call up to the other guys. I'm like, hey, look, like we're flying, like, you know, we check all the systems, got the guys looking in the back, and everything looks normal. I'm like, but I have got a crazy bump. I can only assume that we've been shot. We've taken some kind of damage. And he's like, do you want to try to put it down? And I'm like, no, man, we just pissed off this entire valley. We got to go. Like, I'm flying it. We're going to be all right. But we got to get over these 2 mountain lines. And so we start flying towards this mountain, and I'm riding up this like ridge line like this. And man, it's heavy. And so there were so many people piling on and off and shooting that, you know, like we knew we had everybody out of the objective, but we didn't, the count in the back was still messed up. And they're like, yeah, we're just going to confirm the head count one more time. Right. And I'm climbing up and man, I can feel it. God, we are heavy. And I can just feel like, you know, like this is the thrust and the Chinook, you just like, and it's just coming. I'm like, fuck, man. And I'm getting right to the top of the ridge. And we're 34 plus 2, sir. And I'm like, fuck. Because here's what happens. As we cross, now I'm in a bowl and it's craggle rock everywhere. There's nowhere to land. And I now don't have the power to do a hovering landing. And the next ACP or air control point, the point that I was in to keep me on my route, and we're at probably 9,400 feet. And I got to get to 10,500 to get over that. And I try to accelerate and then pull some power to get it going. And I have nowhere to land, right? And it starts to bounce. So I have, you know, we have a refueling probe, right? So it's like boom, 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 boom. And I can only equate it to like sitting in a rocking chair and somebody being a dick and just shaking your chair in the back. And it's so violent. And I'm looking, I remember looking at this and the terrain is channeling like this. There's like this rock face cliff to the left. And then there's this draw going up to the saddle. And then there's this spur off to the right. And it's just kind of this triangle. And I'm trying to get up that gap. And I have this moment and I'm like, if I go that way, we're going to smack off the side of the mountain. We're going to die. I'm like, if I go to the left, we might hit that cliff, but we only have a chance. And in the middle of this bumping, then I put it in, and here's the other thing is that if I put it in too steep of a turn and we start to descend, I don't have the power to stop us, and I can't slow back, which means we're going to crash. So it's like a crazy finesse. This hopefully will work. And I like in this bouncing, and I'm just like coming left. And I put it into this baby turn towards this rock cliff. and I'm just watching it just come across left to right across the screen, the windscreen. And I'm like, oh, I'm just trying to eke the rotor blades just away from the rock cliff, and I'm like, come on, like the probe's going to scrape off of the thing. And then all of a sudden, we're in the other direction. I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, we're in this thing. So I'm like, hey, man, find me another way around this mountain. And I call over to the mountain. Those other guys were already over there. I'm like, hey, man, I didn't make it over the mountain. We're going another way. Well, there was this whole like 5 nautical mile area next to the little base that we're trying to get to. It was a no-fly zone because everybody shot at you there. And we had to navigate through that whole
awesome
thing. And I can't fly any faster than 84 knots. Or it's, I've got a guy that's, double amputee, potentially triple amputee, one dude in the neck, one dude in the leg, and all these other bubbas around. They're just dumping blood in, and they're trying to keep them sustained and, going. And we jump off the back of this mountain. And then there's this little saddle, and man, I can just see this base like off the horizon. And, like the assets overhead are like, there's helicopter ambushes everywhere. They know that you're coming, like, oh my God, like you're gonna fucking die. And, they don't say that, but like, that's all you hear from all the shit that they're saying, right? Like, Jesus Christ. Like,
just tell me what you want to say. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So here I am, and I can't juke and jive. I can't go any fucking faster. And I'm flying at about 120 feet, dodging tops of buildings and wires and little, whatnot like this. And the aircraft behind me. So they ended up coming with, and they're like, hey man, can you guys go any faster? And I'm like, no, man, I can't. I'm like, you just need to grin and you need to bear it. And the only time in the daytime that if you're getting shot at is if you're taking effective fire, because you can't see tracers or anything. And the whole time, like, I'm just waiting for the cockpit to blow up and all this. And, like, hey, and the whole time I'm like, we're probably going to die, but like, I'm going to fight this thing to the end. And so we're flying along and I'm just like, I see the base coming and I'm like, man, and I'm just waiting. And then it just keeps getting closer. And like, I don't have any hope this whole time. I'm like, it's going to be epic, but whatever. And slowly it gets closer and closer till all of a sudden, like, now I need to think about landing the fucking helicopter, right? And I'm like, oh shit, okay. And so now we're coming in and I'm like, I need to do a roll-on landing and then taxi in and then, taking all this time to get into the med. And I'm like, yeah, fuck that. I ain't doing that. I'm like, there's this little like downhill and uphill. And then there was like these double gates and you come in one and then there's the med and then farping you out the other side. And I'm like, there's a little bit of an upslope and I'm going to do like some aerodynamic cushioning. I'm going to do like a little baby control crash right there. And we're just going to make it nice and smooth. And just tell people what I'm doing. I don't ask shit. And parking brakes released and come in, pick up the shutter and just start working the power. And so it's like this, imagine this. And then you're starting to fall through. But then as you get closer to the ground, because of that upslope, it's called in-ground effect air cushion. And then it will almost slow down for a second and then boom. And that's exactly what I did. And we landed. Wow. And then I went, tail switch relief, like nose left, nose right, and then brakes, and then ramp, and then I'm just like, and I get like, hey, they were calling for like every able body to like come and give blood and all this. I'm like, hey, me and the guy in flight, I'm like, hey, we're gonna go up private up front. And so I'm like here, and I like. So that's just me and him can talk. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck just happened? Like, what the fuck?
That
because
was awesome.
Dude, crazy. So we're sitting here and we put in the computer what we had. And dude, mathematically impossible. Like, you want to call divine, all that stuff, whatever. We put it in the computer and it says 90 required, or 90 available, 116 required. And we didn't over torque the engine.
Wow. Again, The Guardian was with you that day, man. You know what I mean? They were like, "Oh, we gotta help him get there." Yeah, that's crazy. What did the co-pilot say when you were like, "What the fuck?" He was probably like, "I don't even know."
Well, I mean, everybody was just because seriously, we were talking about going back and getting breakfast. Once they're out of the objective area, then we pick up and we flush, and then we kind of fly to 3, or we link up and we go back, and we're going to catch. Oh man, we're gonna get morning chow. It's gonna be badass. Like, woo, and then oh shit, I'm getting an omelet, motherfucker. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, just, like what? Like it was so, and that one
was dope.
That was where the voice for me was just like, you don't get it anymore.
And I know you said that was towards the tail end of when you were in, right? But I do remember in the beginning, and I do remember in talking with Ty and looking at it, I am interested to know the story of, I went from staff sergeant, I was a major, and then I took a step back so I could stay and continue to do this thing. So what's the story around, like, going from one to the other to be able to stay?
So, like E6 to, lieutenant, whatever, to major was fine. The issue was I had always said that I was going to retire. I never hid the fact. I wasn't one of those guys that's just going to fake the funk, always try to get the best job and then bounce. I was always like, hey, in 2016 at 20, I'm retiring. So my paperwork reflected I was going to retire. I always got what they called an ACOM write-up, but I got a center of mass evaluation. But nobody cared because I wasn't competing, because I was already in the primary positions. And so I was on my last rotation as a major overseas. And I had this moment where when I got back, I was supposed to drop my paperwork. And I woke up like this. And I'm like, I'm not fucking done. And I got done, I woke up and I was like, man, I'm like, you know what? I've heard of people becoming a warrant and doing some stuff. I'm like, I'm qualified in all the aircraft. I'm worth $1 gazillion. We need Black Hawk pilots. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try. So, the next regimental commander was over there with me, and I talked to him. Okay, sir, like, I think instead of retire, I'm going to maybe revert, become a warrant, try to do some more. And he was like, no shit. And I'm like, yeah. He's like, dude, you want to fly DAPS? I'll take you right now. You can go fly DAPS. And I was like, holy shit. All right. So, it was, and I did. And it was interesting. It was like the guy that wrote my letter of recommendation in Jordan was our 1-star. The first time that I showed up to the regiment and was like an HHCXO, that guy was my battalion commander. And my first line company commander for like my first deployments and stuff was now the regimental commander. So like everybody in the entire decision chain knew me personally. And, at first I got pushback. I was told, like, look, we're going to send you off to Korea for a year. Then you can come back and you get the Black Hawk course. And I'm like, no fucking way. Because I know him. So I speak. I never really had much of a filter, come to figure that out. Right. And so I was just like, look, man, I'm free. I'm free candy. I'm like, you don't have to pay for anything. Like, I'm already qualified. You give me 10 hours in that aircraft because I'm already qualified and everything. And you have another pilot. And, after some serious heated debates, which was fun, but because I was going to either retire anyway. So like, there was no repercussion for me to not argue.
If they said no, you're like, cool. No.
Yeah, I'm retiring. Now, who fucking gives a shit, right? So, and sure as shit. So we do it. Now the paperwork time, the process wasn't completely efficient. It took a long time for me to go from major to W2. But what was funny is that started a ripple effect throughout the regiment. And now there's an entire new process. You're welcome, 160th. For a captain can now come and assess as a captain. And then after a positive assessment and then graduation from Green Platoon, he becomes a warrant officer and goes to the flight company. Boom. Because here's the thing, the 160th would get all these people, put them in through green platoon. So you get commissioned officers and warrant officers. The warrants traditionally don't leave. Commissioned officers come in, get some money spent on them, they get trained up, and then as soon as they're good, they're gone. So the return on investment is not very good.
Yeah.
And so that changed the whole game. And I'll tell you, like, I retired as, at least my last position was as the D3 commander, and like 2 or 3 commanders subsequent after me all became warrant officers. Boom. And now, now there's a whole process now, and I'm like, you're welcome. You're welcome.
For sure. So
seriously, crazy though, crazy.
Oh, 100%. It's the unicorn because it was the first one, right? Now, if you do it, you're like, oh, that's cool. Let me tell you how that came about. It's one of those things where everybody's talking about how great it is, and you're like, if you only knew what it take to get there, you know what I mean? Like,
do you know how stolen valor I was at one point? I was wearing W-2 because I refused, because the law was you had to be a W-1 for one day and a W-2 the next day if you had more than like 18 months or something as a commissioned officer. And I'm like, then I'm not going to put it on W-1. And so, but my paperwork kept getting jacked up. So my ID card was as a major. I would walk around. So eventually I just didn't wear a uniform, and I didn't wear rank when I flew because it just was, I was a major mister for the longest time. And I was like, look, dude, just fucking call me Danny, right? Like, whatever.
Yeah.
And that's how I finished my career, was just Danny, like, oh, you're Danny. Oh, hey, what's up, man?
Yeah. No, that's awesome. So for you, finishing that, what was transition like for you getting out? Like what was the process for you personally? Like, you thought you were going to get out at 20, then you decided to do a little more time. Did you prepare to get out because you did a little extra, or did you, like we all do, and go, I'm going to be good when I get out?
Well, so that mission kind of started the beginning of the end for me.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually went back to maintenance. I took a year off flying. I didn't have anything left. Come to find out, I would acknowledge now at this point, like it was, I had some PTSD shit. And, but I wouldn't say that to anybody. I didn't know, I don't know what that is. I'm fine. What the fuck are you talking about? I'm fine. Right.
Yeah.
So, if you watch that video on our website, like we do a really good job of telling the story of whenever I got my upslip in December of 21. So fit for duty. Here's another year of going and getting after it. And I, my body was awful. I was getting Toradol shots overseas to try to just keep me in the aircraft. I was living on Celebrex. I was getting dry needled from my neck to my Achilles tendons, like just to try to get pain out of my body. And I got the, my upslip slid across to me, and I looked down at it, and then, but they had probably been telling me for 5 years that I could medically retire. Like, dude, you're so beat up. Like, you have no business doing what you're doing. I'm good, And so he slides that to me, and I look down at it, and I look at him, and I look down at it again, and I'm just like, I can't do this anymore. I would go, you think you can medically retire me? He's like, yeah. And I go, I slip it back, and I go, let's see what that looks like.
Yeah.
And that was tough. And I will tell you, I probably aged 15 years during that year and change that it took for my medical retirement to finalize, because it's the first time that I ever acknowledged that I hurt. It's the first time that, I didn't say, nah, I'm good. Because I think you can actually, fake your brain. Nah, I'm good. I mean, that's how people do these amazing, crazy physical feats, is because you just tell your body it's okay. Right.
Yeah.
And that started. Now look, I had, by that time I had lost a couple of buddies that transitioned, and like, I am all in or fuck off. Right. That's my personality. All in, or I want nothing to do with it. 140% or zero. And I thought, I'm like, I've been a commander, I've assessed people, I can tell, like all that. And I kind of self-assessed, and I was like, you're going to have some problems. And, was talking to behavioral health and all that stuff. And that's kind of how the horse program got started. Because, I didn't know what. And, the other thing is I now didn't have an outlet for any of the stuff that I was feeling. And I had to just keep trying to stuff it down inside. And, you become like this pressure chamber of like just negative energy. And, no wonder dudes have issues. And so, my daughter was riding at this farm, and she was, volunteering there and whatnot. And, and it's stupid, but we try to tell the story a little bit, reference the hose, but we don't do a very good job about it. But if I'm sitting in my truck, the thought of riding the horse and anything just makes me want to vomit because my back's killing me, my knees are killing me, blah. And, they're reeling this water hose up, and it gets on the outside of the spool, and it gets all chewed up. And I'm like, geez, like, all right. So I get out of my truck. I'm in flip flops. I'm like, move, and I pull it out and reel it back in. And I get done, and, like my feet are all muddy, and I'm like, damn it. I'm like, next time I'm going to wear different shoes. And then so all of a sudden I just kind of start doing the shit that sucks, right? Is it awful? Is it hot? Is it just something in it? Because honestly, I just wanted to just kind of get the demon out, right? And I would go out there and do these horrific, like you ever see like the floor, the mats in the horse stalls?
Yeah.
Right? I did 10 stalls in one day. 10. Do you know how heavy them shits are? And they're so
oh man,
like it was awful. And anyways, I ended up eventually in a stall with a horse and had this crazy avatar-like moment. And I realized that there's something here. I can feel that it's, a positive thing. And if it's good for me, it's good for somebody else. And so I was going through the medical retirement process, and my Peblo, Mike Pinatello. So my Peblo is a physical evaluation board liaison officer. So he's the guy that's going to help you with your medical packet to get your stuff through. And I was having a meeting with him, and he's the dude that I finally was like, yes, I hurt, like this hurts, this, like all that, right? So he's got to see your gooey, softy side that I didn't show anybody. And I brought him out to the horse place. I talked to the lady, there, and asked about a program. She told me a bunch of all the science of horses and all this and that. And 2 months later, we started a program, and
nice.
We kind of built it along, like kind of in flight a little bit, because in the end, all I wanted to do was get veterans with a horse. I don't give a shit about riding. I don't care. Like, you can come out and be in the craziest weird mood. I can bring you out there, put you next to a horse, get you start grooming them and do whatever. And then you're going to get so locked into that horse, you don't have the capacity to think about anything else.
Yeah, I was thinking that very thing when you were like, I'm sitting in my truck and there's no way I'm riding a horse. Back hurts, knee, all that stuff. Yeah. And then your breakthrough comes, like you're just there with one. And it was like, oh shit, I don't have to ride the horse, right? Like, nope. Yeah, so, that's cool. So you started that while you were on the way out for the med board, right? The Equine Valor Project. So that's, I would be fair to assume finding that so early kind of helped you through your transition process. Is fair to say?
It was absolutely, like,
yeah. So for me and everyone else that would be out there, walk us through like how it helped you, like for you to be around the horses and you, like you said, you're grooming them or you're walking or whatever you're doing. What's the connection you feel like that the horses help you with, or what you see veterans that come down and when they're interacting and they're a part of their program, like what are the things you see that it does for them the most? Like what kind of, I don't know.
No, you don't even have to. I'll tell you, because it's some voodoo magic shit, right?
Yeah.
Like seriously, the horse can pick up your energy from like extremely far away, but what happens is there's just like this huge. like energy field, right? And you're putting off this energy and they have their own energy, and then it intertwines at some point. And so you can literally be on a horse and be anxious and do all this stuff. And then, hey, do work on some breathing real quick, relax, like start breathing real quick because the horse is picking up on it. And then you can do some breathing, and that horse will all of a sudden let out a big sigh and sync with you and relax.
Wow.
Like, so here's the thing, like a horse's heart is 5 times bigger than ours. And how crazy is this shit? You hang out with that horse, and obviously their heart, because it's bigger, it's beating slower. And then your heart will naturally slow and match their heart rate.
Wow.
Like, because here's the thing, here's what it does is, to think about it. You're petting a T-Rex, right? Like, this thing can stomp and kill you. You cannot not think about what you're doing. You're going to get hurt, right? You have to totally respect it, which means you have to be present, which means you can't think about the bullshit, right? You got to put it, no. And I tell people, just leave your bullshit at the gate and just come in here and just unplug and just focus on the animals. Yeah. And now you're doing all of this stuff. And honestly, a great story is, because for me, the magic is grooming. Okay. And anybody's, grooming, it's therapeutic because you're moving. Like, no, shut up. No, that's not it at all. Like, I had 2 people in 2 different classes, a male and a female. And they would, hey, you're going to go over and groom your horse. And they go over there and just over there and they're just doing this. And I'm like, and I walk over, I'm like, is that how you want to groom the horse? They're like, I'm like, why don't you just go sweep the floor then? Because you're not getting anything out of this. They're like, what do you mean? I'm like, come here. And so I grab them and I pull their sleeve up like this. I'm like, you're going to put your hand right along the front of the horse. Then you're going to groom here. And you're going to let them feel you and your energy. And you're going to feel theirs. And because your arm goes right across the front of their chest, you're like really close to their heart. Mm-hmm. I'm like, and just shut your fucking brain off and enjoy it. And just talk to the horse. Tell it it's a good horse, like that. And dude, it's so powerful. Like they almost burst into tears. It's so powerful. Yeah. And 2 times, like, same exact thing. And like that, you want to see why. Like, if that doesn't melt your heart, you don't fucking have one. That's what I'll tell you.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a I've heard that about horses. They can sense like your anxiousness or your aura. The funny parts, people are like, if they know you're an asshole, they're not going to come by you. But it's kind of that thing of like, if you're jumpy, they don't want to be jumpy, right? And go through all that. And it's amazing to see that people can like kind of calm down into that, because you're right. A horse can be an intimidating animal to just walk up to and be like, I'm gonna go pet that horse. And if that horse doesn't want anything to do with it, because they're like, I don't like you, it's not going to turn out good. Which is why I think it's hilarious when you see people walking up to wild animals to go like take pictures and pet them in videos. You're like, what are you doing? But it's the process of that. And, there's a bond, right? That I've heard when you're with horses, like a trust factor, like that's your horse. And, you don't have to own the horse, but when you're around, that horse wants to be around you. It's like you're drawn to each other in some fashion. You know what I mean?
And you can't. The other thing is you can't forget they're a prey animal, right? They don't realize that they're this big ginormous beast. Like they're just a little baby turkey. You know what I mean? Like waiting for the wolf to freaking eat it. So they're looking for you to protect them.
Yeah.
And so you have to be the protector. You have to be the calm, and when you do that, one of my favorite things to do with a horse is literally take it on a walk like a dog. That's it.
Oh yeah. Just, like leading it.
Yeah. But like with no purpose, not like I'm going to walk you around no, you want to go walk through the trail and smell this or that. And we stop. And then every once in a while, I don't let them no. And I want them to be up. And they're like, what's going on? Do you remember like the term SEALs? Stop, look, listen, smell.
Yeah.
Right. So I would do kind of the same shit. Like I would bring a horse out to like right on the edge of a wood line, and then we would stop. We're just going to watch. And then it would go down. I'm like, nope. And then it would be like this. They started one more time, like, nope. And then they're like, oh, okay, we're just looking. And then they just do it, right?
Yeah, this guy's weird. He just wants to look at stuff.
You're like, GC seal, son, you know. And so, yeah, but no, what's really cool is that's whenever they totally get, oh, and now I'm in charge.
Yeah.
And then I start walking.
You have their trust at that point, right? I mean,
he's got me. Oh, and then I start walking. You don't even need a lead line anymore at that point. Now you're in sync.
Yeah.
You know, and it's crazy because you'll naturally start producing serotonin, and they will as well, because it's a mutually beneficial relationship. So, you know, if you have a good, and the horses remember, you know, you walk up, they know, like, oh no, this is my guy right here. Like, oh,
I'm going to look at trees today, fellas.
This is my guy. About to do. Oh shit.
Yeah. So did you eventually go and ride horses, or do you still just walk with them and do that?
So, you know, honestly, probably the 2.5 years or whatever I've been doing it, I've probably ridden total 10 times.
Yeah.
And not fast. It's been, you know, a walk. I've trotted once, maybe twice.
Yeah. It's more about the experience, right? For everybody's different. So.
Well, I don't need it. But I will tell you, like, for me, if you guys came out to the farm, like where my purpose cup gets full is watching you have it. That's therapeutic.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like being able to give that gift to somebody. It's awesome. And, you know, and now you're like, well, and you're a mortgage guy, like, but, you know, that's kind of another lead into veteran care is, you know, that's a whole, and I don't know how much time we have, because obviously
we have as much time as you need. And I'm glad you brought up that mortgage loan thing, because you had talked about earlier in the show, like for you, mortgage was the thing where you could be your own boss. And so identifying that, getting in, how long have you been doing mortgages since you got out? Around the same time, or did you
3 years
fall into after? Okay. So what was your experience like getting into that industry? Because I'll tell you nowadays, what you know now about your network and the people that you know and that you served with, and you've done all those things and you can talk to them, right? That piece of it is there now, but there's a lot of people that don't realize they have that there, right? Like I said earlier, like I sucked as a loan officer. I had a network. I probably should have called it more. Maybe I'd still be one, but I'm happy where I'm at because this is where I'm supposed to be.
Here's because I think you're going to be fascinated about how this worked for me.
Yeah, for sure.
Is because, look, I don't talk from like a position of like success. I talk from a history of failures and figured it out because I'm a resilient fighter, right?
Yeah.
Sorry to use the F word sometimes, but
you can use as many as those as you want. All good.
So, here's
our resident F-bomb dropper is absent today. Otherwise, we would have said a whole bunch more.
I try not to, but you know, whatever. But
shit happens.
It does. So the mortgage industry, I found that about the same time as I found horses.
Yeah.
And like the business is make friends with realtors and hopefully they'll give you a referral. We talked about all that, I think, already about, and so eventually I realized that this can be an extension of veteran care also, because, you get a guy, retirement disability, because I don't want somebody starving. Like, I don't need the responsibility. You're starving. I need to make $6,000. This is not that business for you, right? This is farming.
Mm-hmm.
But I get that guy that was a high performer and I put him back into a formation with like-minded individuals. And if he has the right mentality and all of that other stuff, he can really, really do some stuff. And now what's really awesome is that now our whole team is retired disabled veterans, and which means they're all have this, we're on a mission, right? Like the mission is protect people, right? Coach, teach, mentor people. Don't be a piece of shit, right? Because the problem with society right now is everybody wants the easy button. They want to click a button and get an answer and be done. but that's not how you want to do your mortgage, right? If you're a veteran, like the VA loan is one of the most powerful mortgages out there. It's the best interest rate. You don't need any money for a down payment, and if you master how to actually wield it, man, you can really put yourself up. Like, how tragic is it? I was in for fucking 27 years and I don't have any rental properties.
Yeah, me too. Same. We're in the same team.
Right.
However, though, I did buy houses and sold them when I transferred because I was so smart.
Right. When they were probably $95,000 and you could have
for sure. 100%. And then you find out later on, oh, I could have done more than one loan. I didn't know that. Nobody tells you that, right?
Like if you watch any of my social media stuff, which is like, I agree, like it's ridiculous that I do social media, but understand I do it just so I can go straight to you.
And that's where people are going to see the information they trust the most.
That's because, like obviously I don't have a filter. I don't do sales. I do not do sales. I will not sell you. If all you want is a transaction, I'm probably going to tell you to fuck off and go work somewhere else, because I want you to listen. I want to have eyes and ears, and I want to do an assessment of your life and how can we maximize the effect of this transaction for you and make it as stress-free as possible.
And that's probably going to be the same dude that runs for $5 at the end of the transaction. And you're going to be like, bro, I know where you live, right? And where you're moving. And that's another story. That's probably my mortgage experience.
No. I lost a guy for 0.01%.
Yeah, so stupid, right? Like, you really, for real?
That's like $8 on your mortgage payment.
And they just rolled every bit that I wasn't charging you into your loan, homie. Great job.
I coached you for 4 months.
Yeah, that's what used to frustrate me. So that's why I was saying in the beginning, like I have so much respect for what you do with mortgage, because to be 100%, it takes a very patient person to do that job and do it well. Because the coolest thing that you can do is furnish your house before you move in. It's got to be ready to go before we get there. And you've told them 10 times, don't go buy nothing. There's all these things that could go wrong. And I want to be at a lower interest rate. The interest rate's not the problem. You're moving into an area where your taxes that you're paying for your escrow is what's killing you. It has nothing to do. You could have a 9% interest rate and you'd still be paying less than whoever else, right? And people just, it used to blow my mind that people just like, oh, that's not true. I'm like, what are you talking about, dude? I'm looking at it right now. Yeah. It would frustrate me. And I think the biggest for me is like, I just didn't have the patience to be like, I want to slow down. I want to do this every time. Right. It's important to do. And I'm glad there's people that do it as amazing as you do. It used to just frustrate me. Like, wait, for how much money? $500.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. So one, I had to not take it personally. Right. Like, do you know the worst one that I deal with all the time is builder concessions, right?
Oh yeah.
I'll get a crisis call from you or your realtor on a Friday night, and I'll bust my ass and bang on a pre-approval. You'll go shopping for 3 weeks, and then all of a sudden, you go look at a new build, and they've got a preferred lender that they're in bed with, and whatever, and they can cook the numbers so that nobody can compete. And I can't argue with it. Like, if you can get a reduced interest rate and all your closing costs, like, go. Like, but originally, dude, I would get pissed. Right. I'm like, oh no, that's great. Like, you should totally do that. But now, like, I'm closing out your file. Like, what do you mean? I'm like, I'm making you go do this. I don't give a shit. There's no emotions in this. You go.
I'll let your boy in 180 days though.
Yeah, but dude, come on, baby, be a Earls.
Have you ever heard of an Earl? Let me talk to you real quick.
What up, Earl? So,
but I would tell you, but I say that joking, and that's really funny. But at the end of the day, someone who knows the VA loan as well as you do, because the builder's going to give you
knowledge about the shit out of you guys.
Yeah, they're not experts in that VA loan. The builders aren't. So when you go to do that interest rate reduction loan in 6 months, you want someone that knows the program, right? So you still win, right? Like, I helped you get where you needed to be, and now we're still going to keep you where you need to be. So, like, you're not totally losing, and it's funny to be like, holler at me in 6 months. But at the end of the day, that a lot of people, I like the way you put that. Is like, now I tell you, you'd be dumb not to take it, and you don't take it personal because that's what's good for you now. Let's look at this later on.
That's right. And I will tell you, do you know how many deals I've gotten from telling somebody that they shouldn't do something? Like I had a guy that was moving out to Fort Lewis, man. It was super expensive, and he was potentially going to put a packet in and be gone in like 12 to 18 months. And I'm like, all right, well, let's run some numbers. Let me see if this even makes any sense for you. And because it was a subsequent use VA loan, it was a 3.3% VA funding fee on top of a $500,000 house, which is going to put like 18, 19,000 on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what do we think this thing will rent for? And, I'm like, if you sell this in 18 months, you're not making that money back. You're going to be in the hole. I'm like, and if you try to retain it as a rental property, you're going to be $300 or $400 in the hole every month. You're going to have an anchor of your life. You need to go rent the house. He's like, what? I'm like, yeah, you can't buy this fucking house. You go rent the house. You call me whenever you put your packet in.
Yeah, I am 100% happy to hear you say that, because there's a lot of people that wouldn't, they're
just going to do the transaction,
advice, right? Like you said, you're not here to make the money, but there's a lot of people out there that are there to make the money. Here, and where do you live now? Are you still,
Savannah, the Savannah, Richmond Hill area. Yeah.
Okay. So, for us here in Texas, where we're at, I can see it around. I do real estate, and you can see where in that COVID era, right? Interest rates are amazing. You're getting this awesome deal. You're getting this super low interest rate. But what you're finding now, that property tax values are going up. A lot of people got put into homes they probably shouldn't have got into. Right. And so now you're starting to see that panic of like, oh my gosh, this is a lot. And then you see people now trying to sell homes, and they sit there forever. Why? You're not going to get what you think, because there's not 30 people walking up the driveway to give you $50,000 more than you're asking just so they can win your deal. Like, those days are over. Your realtor's going to have to work for it now, like for real work for it, and being able to tell someone that goes there you're leaving in 18 months, you would be crazy to buy a house.
Yes.
Unless you're buying a duplex for like $150,000 and you can rent both sides out. That would be smart. But like $500,000 house, you ain't got to be a baller for 18 months, man. We can get you later. So
here's a conversation that I'd love to have is somebody that was looking to buy a house during COVID and got a 2.5% interest rate or 2.25%, right? And they're PCSing and they're like, oh man, and I just want to sell this house. I'm like, man, like, let me ask you a question. And they're like, what? I'm like, if I could sell you a property that would cash cow you $1,000 a month and I didn't need any money out of your pocket, would you say yes? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, dude, you already own it.
Yeah, right. You're there, dude.
Yeah. And they're like, what? I'm like, dude, you're going to cash cow $500 to $1,000 a month guaranteed on that house because your interest rate's so low. You can't let that go.
Yeah, and by the way, you're not ever going to run out of renters because you're at the base, bro. There's gonna be people that want to live there.
Yeah. So then it just becomes an entitlement, math problem, and that's kind of where one of the biggest things that I love to teach is you can't go into this thing, one, not preparing, but two, not thinking about what are you doing in 5, 6, 8 years, right?
For sure.
Because if you're an active duty soldier and you're looking at a house like this is your forever house, you're an idiot, right?
We're going to come back here and retire. No, you're not.
Like, no, dude,
you're not.
I love when I'm like, first time home buyer was to buy land and build. I'm like, no, negative. No, you don't. Like, no, I want to. Like, no, you're going to PCS 3 years. Like, you're going to watch this thing get built for a year, then you're going to live in it for a year and a half, and then realize you're going to be leaving in 6 months. You're going to be pretty pissed.
Or your wife's going to be pissed, and you're going to get out, and you're going to be like, what do we do now?
Yeah, So, I'm like, yeah, no, you need a turnkey house. Because what I tell people is like, look, if you're going to stay in the military, you need to be looking at it like this is a future rental property. What school zone is it in, right? Like, how's the neighborhood? Like, how's everything, look? Because if you go into a purchase with those glasses on versus this is my perfect forever house, it changes everything. because it doesn't have to be perfect. How many times have you ever been on a work trip or something and it sucked, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah.
Right. It's the same mentality.
I think one thing that's good to, I don't know, this is how I would like, I'd start framing it, or for me, I just thought about it while you were talking about it is, you're going to be here 3 years, you're going to leave, and you ask that person, okay, so when you go pick orders, are you picking the unit everybody wants to go to, or are you picking the unit that's going to be the best for your career? Sometimes taking the L or settling or not doing what you think you should do is actually the best route to take, right? And in this case, it's not buying a home. It's not putting your family in that position, right? And so, in the Navy anyway, you pick orders based off what's going to be best for your career, not where everybody's going or what everybody's doing, And I just thought about it as an interesting way to put that, to go think about what you're doing before you do it, right? They do tell you to do that still, right?
You're a tactical person, right? Like you think of it tactically.
Yeah.
There's so many things, like how many times have I gotten somebody that has no idea what their credit looks like?
Oh, probably 9 out of 10.
Dude, I'm like, so I mean dude, welcome to why I make social media, right?
Yeah.
Like you can go to annualcreditreport.com every year, get a free credit report, look at your shit, see if it's how it looks, if there's any surprises on it, and then you'll know, because too many times, like here's another one. You start looking at houses before you're even pre-approved.
That's my favorite.
Like, what are you doing? Like, what do you mean? I'm like, oh, I want to see what I like. Like, well, why don't you go test drive some Lamborghinis and Ferraris?
Yeah, that's right? The exact car I was.
Go ahead. I'm like, let me just tell you a little something. They're like, what? I'm like, you know what I don't need you to do, and I don't want, what your wife doesn't need to do is have champagne taste on a sweet tea budget.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
that is so funny.
You go look at houses with elevators in it, and then you go look at the $235,000 house that's in your wheelhouse, and you're going to be you're going to be upset. But if you don't look at that, let me do the numbers. Start at the payment that you want to do, and then back plan from that to the price point. And then wherever you go, that's your gift. That's your gift because you did the preparation.
And here's the other part. I can pre-approve you for $750,000. That doesn't mean you need to spend that much. Man, let's go back and look at, what do you really need, dude? It's you and your wife. You need a 5 bedroom.
How many times? How many times I get somebody that's pre-approved from somebody else for $500,000, $500, baby. And I'm like, do you have any idea what that payment is? We're like, no, but I'm pre-approved. And I'm like, yeah, that's near $4,000.
But you're gonna be living house rich and cash poor, bro.
Yeah, but I'm just like, come on, man. Like, did you have to give any documents for that? Like, nah, man, I didn't do that. No, I didn't do it. I'm like, that
was always my favorite. That was my favorite.
Would you like to go into a surgery and never talk to the doctor, never even have them look at your body? Like, come on now. Like, this is the biggest purchase of your life. This isn't a drive-through going to get hamburgers. Like, come on, baby. Like,
hell yeah, man.
Like, let me do my job. Like, I'm here to protect you from making a financial freaking horrible decision. Okay.
Partnerships, man. Partnerships.
That's right. I'm here to protect you from the lender and you and the lender from you. That's it. Right. Like, let me do my stuff, do the analysis, and I will set a price point. And if I say you're good, you buying a house.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I have been talking with you forever today on our show, and I love it. And I like everything that I've heard you say.
I just realized Ty Cobb is the other dude. That's you. He's who I've been texting with.
Exactly, and he's about to put you through the ringer, so that's going to be fun. So I'm going to be back.
Is this rapid fire?
This is the hot seat. So
I love the hot seat.
I will see you after.
All right.
All right. Yeah, I really appreciate it. I was in the mortgage industry for a while, and I did a lot of behind the scenes courses. So I know that when people know their shit when it comes to the VA loan and all mortgage products for that matter, they don't, Daniel Archer doesn't just do VA loans. He does all, whether it's high-end loans, whether it's a regular conventional loan, he knows all the specialties and knows all the angles. So I think that veterans helping veterans, especially with, like you said, the biggest purchase you're ever going to make in your life, is a beautiful thing. I appreciate your introspective nature and be able to recall the flight where you had to do a soft crash land kind of. I appreciate all that very much. Your story is amazing. And so like what we kind of like to do with the hot seat is I'm going to ask a couple questions and tell me it's kind of how we kind of figure out how your brain works. So First question, what is the most unique place in the world you've ever visited?
Ooh, most unique place. Honestly, I probably the one that probably sticks out the most. Now, I've traveled a lot. I've been around the world a ton. But for me, Washington, D.C., just because there's so much history there, and there's so much that we don't actually understand and you don't have access to. And it's all inspiring. That's the White House. I love Washington, D.C.
Yeah, I love how the city was planned. It's
crazy. It's crazy. The architecture of it and everything. I would love to be in the brains of those people that planned it, because it's hard to fathom. So,
well, that kind of leads me to my next question. If you had 1 hour to have one conversation with one person from history, alive or dead, who would it be, and what would you talk about?
Gosh, that's got so many legs on it, doesn't it?
Oh yeah.
Because I am a baseball fan, and this is going to sound super weak, but I would love to sit down and talk chop it up with Greg Maddux. Because I was a pitcher, and I eventually learned how to throw the sinker change, cutter, 12-6 curveball. And I appreciated that. And just to hear and watch some of the videos about how he would think through and go through that. I mean, the chess of pitching, I grew to appreciate and got to be pretty good at it. I would love to have that conversation. So Greg, reach out. That'd be fantastic.
That's a wonderful answer. I was a catcher all the way up through college level. And so I grew up watching WGN and TBS. So it was going to be the Braves or the Cubs is my favorite team. So Atlanta was the team, and just seeing how he would call his next pitch by where he caught the ball.
Right, exactly.
Some of that stuff is amazing, and he's a freaking mad dog professor. All right, what drives you in life today?
Purpose and impact. Easy. If I don't have it, it's not worth it. I could go and I could just do this mortgage business and make a ton of money and drive a G-Wagon and be a total asshole. But it's not what it's about. I mean, honestly, for me, it's about helping and doing stuff. And honestly, the mortgage business is how we were able to buy the farm that's going to house the Equine Valor Project. And so I'm on a mission. I'm telling you right now, you don't know, you don't follow me or whatever, please throw my Instagram up there and stuff. Daniel Archer, VA mortgage guy, watch my stuff because, and recognize I'm taking over this area as the VA guy. Make it known.
Is there anything that keeps you up at night?
Failure.
Failure at?
Everything.
Anything, right?
I don't like failing. So I can't throw left-handed. So I don't throw left-handed. Right? I've tried. It's awful. I disappointing, all of that stuff. Just the fear of it just drives me insane, right? So it puts me, and I've always been super competitive, but it's not necessarily competitive with other people. It's competitive with myself. And so I just drive the shit out of myself into the ground, which is honestly almost to a fault, because I will sit my ass in this chair and work 19 hours nonstop. And my wife tells me about it because I will not be the weak link in the chink, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Appreciate that answer. What is the most, you spent 27 years in Spec Ops, from Ranger Regiment to 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment. What is the most difficult school or certification you had to go through?
SEER school.
SEER, Survive, Evade, Rescue, and Escape?
Yeah, so no. So SEER school was the first military school that I ever went to that literally lived up to exactly what, I was so blown away, one, how hard you got hit, how often you got hit. And I mean, it tests you like that, but it was amazing. Like when you got graduated, it's the most amazing school in the world. But the suck factor is about what, like you think you're going in on a 10, you're going to get a 14. But it's awesome. Well, hopefully it's still that harsh. Because I got the shit kicked out of me. It was crazy. And I showed somebody my butthole. That was weird. You know what I mean? Like,
Been there. Hey, tell me a quick story about yourself or one of your battle buddies in aviation aviation that perfectly will explain Night Stalkers never quit.
Okay. I mean, shoot, you want like a quick story or a certain person? Because, man, I have...
Quick story of a certain person.
Okay.
No names if you don't want to, just...
I mean, so, man, we were doing a mission in downtown Baghdad, and we had put them. One, it was whatever Saddam Hussein's, like, you know, he was gonna, you know, his court decision came out that he was gonna be executed or whatever. And there was like celebratory fire, and they were like, "Hey, you're not doing anything tonight." And then like 5 seconds later, maybe an hour later, we're like, "Oh, sweet, gym night, freaking going, you know, like movie night or whatever." Next thing we're going to do this stuff. We end up having to go, and we pick these guys up and we put them in, and weather is coming in, and I'm like, "Hey, the weather's coming in, right?" "Oh, yeah, we're going to be in and out." I'm like, "Okay, cool." And we go and we pick them out, we put them in, and we go back to the ground place while they're walking into the spot. And then the weather comes in, literally an hour later, like 10 feet off the rotor discs. And everybody except for the Chinooks are out. And Al Mack, boom, I'm going to say the name. So he was the flight lead and I was the OIC. And he's like, "How are we going to do this?" And I'm like, you know, we looked at the map and we found a field with 300-foot like wires around it. And it was a football field. And we figured out if we punched into the soup above all the towers and stuff in Baghdad, and then shot a self-generated approach to this field, we should be able to land and get him out. And dude, we did. We separated by 5 minutes, punched in single ship, like 10 feet off the freaking ground, surrounded by all that stuff that was up there. And I had some buddies that were, you know, in the unit that we were going to get, and they were already like taking down, you know, like a house to stay, you know, remain over day. Because they had already gotten, you know, people or whatever that they wanted to get, and then I called them, and you know, I said we were 5 minutes out, and he said he walked out into the field, and he said he had never seen a more beautiful thing. Because, you know, like that was early in the war, whatever the 40, you know, the Black 47, so MH47 got off. Back then it was an E model. He's like, he's out. He's like, and all you see out of this white mist was this black, sexy beast coming out of the darkness, and then land. And we got him all out. And then we punched right back into it, and then took him back in, and yeah, it was crazy. But like, it was awesome. And after that, those dudes loved us. That is Night Stalker, don't quit shit, right? Because those dudes could have been like a whole heap of trouble, and that was a really bad area. That was really fun mission.
I spent 10 years at Fort Campbell, and all these.
Oh, you know the sound, don't you?
Oh yeah, for sure. So
Yeah.
all of you special ops guys in 160th, all the special forces guys at 5th Group there at Fort Campbell, we got to do. We never trained with 160th. Sometimes we got to train with 5th Group for like hooker training and things like that. But you guys were always my heroes. I appreciate your story. I do have one question from the group here. It says, Ty asked him if he knew Chief Biles from 160th 03. He was the at the attack command post. You know Chief Biles?
Biles, 03, man. I would have been super wet behind the ears at that point.
Gotcha.
And if I did, I mean, hell, I would have been a lieutenant, and I didn't talk to a whole lot of people. Like, and the warrants took shit out of you because you were a lieutenant. And then they realized that I was a fucking man.
Of course.
I choked my first platoon sergeant out in front of people, like that. But anyways, Biles, man, I feel like I know the name, but he for sure doesn't know me.
That's cool. All right, first concert and best concert.
Oh shit! My first concert. I think I was like 13 or 14, and my sister was in college, and we went and watched Belle Biv DeVoe.
That girl is poison.
Yeah, best concert, man. And I'm going to catch some shit for this too because I have daughters, but I'm going to say it, man. We went to Taylor Swift, and that is a show.
Are you ready for it?
Man, we did, and I was blown away. The quality of the concert, like you first, there's no way you don't know all like the songs, right? But then the show, holy shit! There's not a concert that can match it. I mean, Old Dominion on the up there singing, amazing. But that as a concert, as a show, look, all them Swifties out there, they're onto something. Like, I do not like that everything costs $1 gazillion. My daughter's got to have it, but that's a good concert.
Yeah, my wife, I have 6 children and 4 of them are daughters, so they're all Swifties. So my wife and son went and saw Taylor Swift at in Indianapolis a couple of years ago. I didn't want to go, but they said it was probably one of the coolest things ever.
Yeah, amazing.
What if you could master instantly a new skill? What would you want it to be?
It's gonna sound totally retarded. I can't sing for shit, right? But I will tell you. I would love to learn how to play the acoustic guitar. Something that's always been on my bucket list. I got a guitar, never played it. My hands don't move like that.
Got 2 left hands?
But I would rock the shit out of it, though. I'm telling you what, I have some sweet, like, head rocker face, but no, that's it. I would love it. But I wish I could sing. It's awful. Just one tone. It's not good.
If you ever come to Houston, I definitely want to get you and the Mad Scientist and Senior Chief Matt Johnson together, and we got to go do some karaoke and play some air guitar.
I can air guitar the shit out of it, but I can't sing at all. I would. I didn't even know to say what I would do back in the day, but I would do inappropriate things with the microphone sometimes.
Oh, I hear you. Yeah, as one does when the time requires.
You can't sing, right?
Exactly.
So you better bring the game.
This is the question that has a lot of contention on the podcast here. Who is the greatest of all time, Michael Jackson or Prince?
Michael Jackson.
Just hands down. Why?
Yeah, it's because there's nobody that changed the game like he did. Now, Prince is an unbelievable artist, like a dude that can sing like that and play the guitar. But Michael Jackson changed the game. Like he was like the UFC of R&B. Like UFC changed, like jiu-jitsu and all that other stuff changed martial arts, right? Like that's Michael Jackson. Who's like, come on now. Michael Jackson Thriller. There's really that video back then. Are you shitting me?
Man, I remember they wheeled a TV in, and I think they let us watch like a making of the video, and then we watched the actual video of Thriller. This is way back in '83 or '84, whenever Thriller came out. But yeah, I got a video here real quick.
Really?
As you can see, it's pretty contentious, but Prince still has got a lead of 47-42.
Interesting. Like that's interesting. I would have never guessed that.
Yeah, we're on episode, what is this, 136, and it's pretty contentious. But that's I'm a Prince guy just for the fact that he plays every instrument known to man. But we've had so many people that have answered, and Drew Hernandez,
that Dave Chappelle game.
Exactly. All right, last question here, a bit of an AAR. What can we do to make our podcast better?
Well, this is great, man. I mean, I wish I had my podcast mic and I had my little ear so I sound better. But honestly, this was cool and very relaxed, just hanging out with dudes. Kind of, I didn't have a drink. I probably should have done that, but this was awesome. Honestly, I am new to the triple threat vets. Triple threat. Do I get a T-shirt out of this thing? Am I getting a T-shirt? What's up?
Oh, we can probably make a T-shirt happen. Absolutely.
That's easily arrangeable.
You have t-shirts? You guys got some sweet swag?
I got a sweet hat on.
I was on Triple Threat Vets. What?
Damn right. I got you.
You guys got to come down and check out the horses. We're moving the horses here in 4 weeks.
Let's go. I can't wait.
So honestly, like, are you guys following me on like social media or EVP on social media?
I follow everything. I follow you on LinkedIn and everywhere. So yeah.
How do you like my stuff?
Absolutely. And it's good quality too. Is the mad scientist helping you, or who's doing it?
No. So so I don't do the horse stuff anymore. I used to, but because I was like an hour away, it was very difficult for me to get out there and research. So I ended up passing that off, and it's gone well. But I like all my little talking head video shits and all that. I've got that system down so good, and it's from repetition, right? Like I said, I almost got like 500 reels out there. I can go from idea, make the content, shoot the content, edit it, and upload it in about 25 minutes.
Nice.
Which means it's so efficient, and that's kind of where, like, how can you compete with that? Like, it's hard to. If you're not putting that information out, how are you going to keep up with it? And it just lives. And it goes. And now it's like it's created this wave. And yeah, you know, that's what I love, man. That's good. I'll just answer. And look, you guys both being veterans and mortgage people, your ass is joining my team, son.
Oh, hold on, bro.
Back in the game.
My mortgage line officer license, I still have a number, but it's not active. So
what? You take the class. Listen to me. You tell me we can't chop it up here, talk mortgage loans, and we can make some and help some people.
I tell you what, I'll keep every builder at bay. How about that? That's how good a realtor I am.
Done.
Hell
so
yeah.
Where are you a realtor at?
Houston, Texas, baby.
Yeah, you know I'm licensed in Texas, right?
Oh, I know. I know the mad scientist too, very well.
Oh yeah, Matt Duhan's he's one of my mentors, one of my heroes in the.
I took a picture. Here, I'll do it. I'll do it again for him because I took him a picture, but you were doing the intro, and let me get it real quick. But I want you guys to be on the screen too.
Okay. You. We just we did golf with Matt Duhan this year at the was it the Project Zero Scramble.
So I can't get his ass. I can't get him to help me anything. He's sucked into all these other things. I do all my own shit, but we're trying to.
I mean, nerds are busy because they're smart. You know what I mean?
And nerds do nerds things, right?
Hell yeah!
I can't do that. I don't have the patience for it.
Bro, I remember when I did mortgage, like we were on our little VA team, and if I got on the phone with Matt Duhan, I wasn't getting off in 45 minutes because he'd have an idea and then I'd tell him idea. Like that dude he's an idea machine, man. He's cool.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoy it, but we can sit down and we can wizard out some stuff, right?
Hell yeah!
But seriously, like you guys, what do you guys do other than this?
I make T-shirts and hats, and I do real estate. I'm my wife's art manager. You know.
So who is here's your VA guy, Matt Johnson?
I mean, you can be my VA guy now.
Yeah, you damn right. Look,
let's go.
Seriously, like let's connect after this. Ty Cobb, what you got going on, kid? How you getting in this game? Let's first your groomed ass beard. I can't do that. I pick at it too much, and I create a dead spot right here.
Yeah. You're handsome enough alone. If you had a beard like mine, it wouldn't be fair.
No, honestly, like we should probably all talk about it because I think you would love what we're doing.
I've been wanting to work with Matt Duhan for years, but I basically do contracting. I, invoice a couple little things, and then I do a couple podcasts that I'm trying to get picked up with the Food Network, and I want to do this as a, as a traveling circus kind of thing. And so that's all I want to do is make money in order to do this podcast, because like you do with the Equine Valor Project, connecting with people, hearing their stories, telling their stories, and seeing what it actually does for them.
So that's the next wave. I'll tell you, when we move it to here and we own all the cards, right? Because that's the power of having our own farm, is now we can have people introduced to the feeding schedule, because now we can own the feeding schedule, like who comes, when they come, how they come, all that stuff, which means we can truly grow this veteran horse community here now and let this thing go. And so, you know, the other aspect, and like, no bullshit, Matt, here's something that I want you to do. Like, I'm not bullshitting, let's do business, but you find me a nonprofit that we can co-sponsor there in Texas. That's
done, son. I can give you 4 right now. Got you.
So this is what I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Let's do some business, and then every time, whenever you're at the closing table, you're going to give that flyer and say you're donating to this nonprofit with me.
Done. Hell yeah.
I mean, that ain't a freaking peanut gold mine, right? And I'm just going to take your podcast over for a little bit. Like, I just need to let me talk, obviously.
Let's go.
Here's something else. Honestly, let's give me a day a month, and let's talk some mortgage stuff, and we make this profitable for you guys.
Done. Let's do it.
Does that sound? I mean,
all of our guests are family. So if you got some stuff you want to talk about every month, you can come back on. We can talk that shit. Let's go.
We'll create a whole freaking segment. Danny Archer comes and explains and wax poetic about the VA loan and all mortgage products.
I mean, but seriously, think about it. Like, as this PCS season is coming up, man, we could focus on PCS prep, like shit like that. Like, why you don't want to pick the listing agent off of Zillow as the person that you're going to call to buy the house?
Because they're always the best agent.
No, but that person is representing the seller. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to, I'll give you a deal, man. Like, I'll do that. I'm like, yeah, but how are we going to represent you?
Also, for everybody out there that doesn't know, the Zillow agent that you're picking off the listing is 8 out of 10 times not even the listing agent for the home. They just had the most money to pay for the ad. So you're not even getting the agent that knows shit about the property. You just think you're getting a deal, you know? So
just the random pick off the internet is so dangerous.
They're rolling the dice.
Seriously, Yahtzee, you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, I can tell you, I put the video. I watched that 8-minute video. I was going to play it on the show, but
it's long. It is.
Yes, it's 8 minutes. But go to the Equine Valor Project. Check out the video of Daniel Archer explaining with his Pueblo how he got all the people involved. The connection that you guys have screams through the screen, and even as you were talking about the horse and the symbiotic relationship that goes along, like, I felt that shit here because, you know, I grew up in Kentucky and I've been around horses. So what you're doing for veterans is amazing. With the Equine Valor Project, what you're doing with veterans with CrossCountry Mortgage is amazing. Your service to a country is amazing for 27 years in special ops. All the things that you did, I respect the hell out of that. Those type people have always been my heroes. I was a regular Army signal guy and electronic warfare officer, and I absolutely love what you've talked about tonight, and I appreciate you very much coming on. Before we get you out of here, where can we find you exactly? I'll put your wax poetic about the Equine Valor Project real quick so we can clip it, and then we'll talk about CrossCountry Mortgage right after that. Go ahead.
Yeah, so you can go to www.equinevalorproject.com. And if you scroll all the way to the bottom, there's a way to, like, put your information in and get connected. But you can also then find us on social media because we have this pretty good social media presence now. You can go to any of our Instagram and shoot a direct message and say, hey, I would like to get involved. We're always looking for sponsors, especially as we now are going to be owning all of the things that require for these wheels to turn to support these veterans. I'm extremely passionate about making this happen, and so is the team. But if you are a person, or you can help move the needle, please connect. You want to donate? It's on the website. There's a button. Hit donate. It's going to be a good year, and we will be documenting it so you can actually follow the story. So when the horses come here, you'll see it, and it's going to be amazing. And honestly, you should probably watch it and follow it because you love America. Boom.
America, with 2 capital N.
America.
Talk a little bit about CrossCountry Mortgage, and then we'll get you out of here, sir.
Yeah, no. So I'm on the Victor Alpha team with CrossCountry Mortgage. So we're an all veteran team that niche VA loans. Yes, we can do other loans, but if you're a veteran out there trying to figure it out, doesn't matter what state, we can support all 50 states. Reach out. Like, you can find me anywhere, but my email is daniel.archer@ccm.com. And I'm all over social media. You just follow one of my reels, shoot me a message, we can set up a call. You do not have to try to figure it out on your own. That's the key. I will go from one phone call. If you're trying to list and you're going to PCS, I'll find you an agent where to help you list it. And then I'll find you an agent where you're going, and your stress level for that entire move is down. Yep. That's my job. That's the pain point that I'm attacking.
Ladies and gentlemen, Daniel Archer, we appreciate you, sir.
Thank you for having me. I sure appreciate it, boys.
Yeah, yes, thank you.
We're going to close the show here real quick, so stay on if you don't mind.
Okay.
All right. What do you think about that, Matthew?
Oh, I mean, VA loans for a guy like you and me, Ty, are in a wheelhouse. We're passionate about those, man. I did say in the show, being a mortgage officer, that was hard for me because I'm not that patient. Like, that's the truth. Someone that wanted to go make a $5 decision somewhere else because they think that other person has their best interest at hand, that shit used to just aggravate me. I'm not as professional, y'all, as Mr. Danny Archer, right? I'm not as professional. I hold a grudge. So that's why I went back to what I'm good at, being a realtor, because, when you find people that you can help get into a home and you build that trust with people to bring them to your partners to help out, especially a team like Danny's over there at CrossCountry Mortgage, at that point, you've got a family set in. So I like my networking abilities in that arena, but to hear his story and everything he did and went through, I thought it was my favorite part is hearing the stories about, just dropping it in sideways, like just making those decisions to do those things that would keep everybody either safe or get them out of there. That's what it's all about. And, if you took anything from today, veterans don't quit. We just do good shit. Remember that next time you're out there trying to look around and see who needs to help you do whatever it is you're looking to do. You should be a veteran because we make shit happen.
No doubt. So I don't think we need to make any changes to our Super Bowl. Did you hear anything? Free front, you want to change your pick?
No. I don't even care who wins the Super Bowl. It's going to be boring as shit.
Which Super Bowl halftime show are you watching?
I'm going to watch the one that's on the TV, and I could give a shit less who's at either halftime show. I can't even believe this is a fucking thing right now where people are like, which one are you watching? I'm going to be honest with y'all. I don't even know how. I don't know everybody but one person on the other lineup. But what I do know is Bad Bunny's ass is funny as shit, and Happy Gilmore too. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I like Bad Bunny from his WWE entrance. So I don't listen to much new music because I was born way back in the mid to late 1900s. So I listen to 80s and a lot of 90s rap. But I'll be watching the Super Bowl with Bad Bunny.
I mean, it's going to be what it is, man. Like we were talking today. Who was I talking? I was talking to someone at the craft brewery we go to. I was like, dude, this Super Bowl feels like, and this is my opinion. So if you're a Seattle fan or you're a New England Patriots fan because you're that ornery, whatever, get the fuck over it. But this to me feels like the Super Bowl when Rex Grossman squared off against Peyton Manning. They were like, those fucking teams made the Super Bowl? This is going to suck. That's the last time I remember, for me, it being like, oh, this is not even a good one. It just like, it doesn't have the same feel. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't know if I share the same sentiment because I love ball. So I'm interested in Drake May. I love how Sam Darnold, is getting a second chance and really thriving in Seattle. And I'm just a huge sports fan, so I'll be watching the shit intently.
I'm going to watch the game. I'm just saying I don't give a shit about the two teams that are in it. Either way, like I didn't see anything this year. Normally in a season where you'll see something where either one team does something where you're like, fuck them, I don't want them to win it all. And then there's another team where you're like, oh my God, like they're the under. I feel like both teams are the underdogs coming up. So it's almost like, well, shit, if you like one over the other. You know what I mean? It's like, there's no villain here. I feel like, which is
yeah, but the Patriots used to be the big ass villain. So anyway, next week we have Damon Maxill, Command Master Chief. Talk a little bit about him, Matt.
I mean, Damon Maxill's a Louisiana guy. He's a Master Chief in the Navy. He's out there leading sailors at the tip of the spear, and he does a lot of good talking on leadership, and as all senior enlisted leaders, that's your forefront, making everybody around you better. I'm just excited to catch up with him, man. It's been a minute since I talked to him.
Absolutely. Well, you ready to bounce out here?
I'm ready to bounce. We can bounce right now. Al, good job for taking care of your kids. See you next week, fucker. With that, we're out.
If you or someone you know is in crisis, contact the Veterans Crisis Line at 1-800-273-8255. Then press 1.